Well, I know I always start these videos by saying really we're so dependent on the weather, and ironically when we're running in October we know that we take a gamble. This of course is the 2002 Bonfire Burnup. Now always tinged with a little bit of sadness really, because we know that this is the last meeting of the year. Now I say a bit of sadness being the last meeting of the year, but we know the closed season does whip by very, very quickly. The one good thing we also know though about the Bonfire Burnup is it always attracts a good entry. And this year, I can honestly say that you've got a fantastic lineup in 500cc solos, of course. The number ones, the number twos, the number threes, they're all here, Kelvin, Tatum, etc. In the sidecars, if I'm talking 1000cc, anybody who's anybody is here. And there's an added ingredient because they, at great expense, have flown over the very, very talented crew from Australia that won the Super Cup. And we're waiting to see what Darren Treloar and Justin Playstick can make of this circuit. Now I will tinge back a little bit to the weather because we've had such a downpour this morning that the weather is going to be really playing a part, certainly in the early heats this afternoon. But historically we know that this track will get better and better. And if I turn back to the entry for a few minutes, what also is going to be interesting to see this afternoon is that those of you that follow the sport closely will know in 2001 the 500 sidecars were here for the very first time. Now what's been happening in that racing world is that the Germans have decided to change the licensing restrictions, and they've now been deciding to race with up to 750cc machines. So as an experiment on this fantastic boarded circuit, this year we're going to see in action the best from Germany against the very best from the UK, riding much bigger machinery. Now that one's going to be of interest to me because I want to see how their times compare. But all in all, once we get through the heats, we get to those big finals, I'm sure as always with the entry they get here for the Bonfire Burnup, we're going to see a fantastic meeting. I mentioned about the entry here today, and we know the influence that the track is going to have. And Joe, if I can really bring you in on that subject, you've been out for practice, it's going to be a real gamble today, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, that rain spoiled it early on. I think if sun would have stayed out it would have been nice, but it's very heavy, you know. It's if you play the track off it'll be good, so we'll see after practice, see how it goes, and I think, you know, we'll get dust at the end of the day.
Well, that is the irony of this track, isn't it? Because I know we've been down here really with the gamble of this time of year. We do gamble with the weather and everything, and we know on the Tunbridge track underneath it is very solid. As you say, if they can get the blade on it, it might make a big difference. But there's a terrific lineup anyway, isn't there? It's always going to be a tough meeting.
Yeah, I wasn't here last year, and you know, every year previous it's been a good lineup, and I've always enjoyed coming down here. So, you know, if the track can, you know, get better, I should say, which I know it can do. I should, fingers crossed, have a good day, I should say.
Well, absolutely. As I say, we know we're in the hands of the weather. Let's keep our fingers crossed. We do keep the sun shining. And Joe, thanks ever so much, mate. Very best of luck.
I would have had a shave as well if I know you was going to interview me.
Well, I mentioned a little bit earlier that we've got a little bit of a difference with what we lovingly know as the 500 sidecars this year, because here at Tunbridge they've opened the licensing rules, and one man I'm hoping will be able to explain all this to me, Malcolm Goodwin. Is really this going up to 750 going to make a big difference today?
Not today, I don't think so, Jim. Obviously conditions are not going to help. The main difference with the 750s is with the singles is that you get more power from the gate, more power from the corners. Maybe a little bit different today, so maybe you're not going to quite see the difference, but we have to wait and see.
So you're saying really that we might have a mixture of bikes out there today then?
Yeah, that's true, because obviously, as you know, in England they're 500. It's only in Germany is the 750s are allowed, and it's very rare you actually ride in a 750. The singles can average from a 570cc to a 625cc, so there's not actually a 750 here apart from Roelenberg the Dutchman on the Ducati. So there is a variation right the way down from 500 to 625 to 750 Kawasaki. So certainly a mixture of them.
Well, certainly something to make it interesting anyway. But I mean, I think really looking at the meeting, we know we gamble with the weather, don't we? And you know, it's this time of year. It is a big gamble. I've been talking to a lot of the solo boys and the 1,000 chairs. It really does make a big difference, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we're just glad and hope that the weather keeps on, because there's a lot of people work really hard, as you know, Jim, to get this off the ground, you know, for this weekend. So there's a lot of people will be sad as well as spectators if it doesn't go ahead, but I'm sure the club will do all they can to make it run.
Well, I'm sure you're absolutely right there, Malcolm. From your perspective, though, can I just say the very best of luck, because I know you're up against some strong competition.
That's right, Jim. Thanks a lot, mate.
Well, I know I've talked an awful lot about the weather this morning with all the riders in the pits here, but one thing I've got to say, Darren Talora, it's fantastic to see you back over here. Not the sort of weather you would expect, though.
No, I sort of had a rough idea. Everyone sort of warned me when I left here in August. Bring your thermals and your long johns and all that, because it's going to be cold and probably wet, so it was no shock, so just got to put up with it, eh?
Well, we have, I know, and a lot really will hinge on how the track changes during the day, but what you've seen of the circuit so far, what do you make of it?
Oh, I love the circuit, the shape, the size, you know, the width, everything's beautiful, you know. It's just like a big speedway track. It's similar to the ones we got at home, but obviously it's a bit wet at the moment, so I'm going to have to borrow the Grasstrack off Steph Bly, and I'm just going to have to go out in the first few races, and hopefully the track dries up and there's a good racing line, and bring my speedway bike out towards the end of the day.
Well, obviously that's what we're hopeful. What I was going to ask you really was that you left us in August after that fantastic Super Cup win. Have you been still racing over in Oz?
Yeah, I've had 6 meetings in Oz since I left here in August. We did on a tour up the centre of Australia and down the north of Queensland, back down to Sydney. I won 2 out of the 4 and 2 seconds to Glenn O'Brien, the current Australian champion. So everything's going well.
Well, indeed going well, and obviously you're still keeping your hand in, so maybe good things from you again today.
Thanks, Jim.
Cheers. What the track is going to be like in terms of going into these bends, it really has dried out on the inside, and you can see that he's not losing grip too much, so push the racing line out a little bit. I think we should be in for some superb racing. Now, in terms of your program entry, the solo international class, there's only one change that I've been made aware of, and that is that rider number 14, Dirk Fabriek, is unfortunately not able to enter today. So number 14, the place will be taken by Darren Roll. Now, I'll wait to confirm in that second race whether Darren is riding as number 14, or indeed as he is in your program list as 41. But we'll see when he comes out and confirm that. But well, as we normally go through the day, I tend to get a little bit of lost property handed in. It started already today. If anybody's lost a car key, then it's been handed in here. On the keyring with it is a Chubb key as well. So if you recognise that, check your pockets. I've had a car key handed in here. Looks like a Hyundai. So if anybody's lost it, it was found behind the beer tent. We've now got the riders coming out onto the circuit for what is in your program as race 1, a slightly different way of scoring that we're used to if you go to the Grasstrack regularly. This is more on the international format, so if you look through the program on page 15, you'll see at the top of the page we've got solo international race chart. We've got races 1, 2 and 3. You'll then turn over the page to the 750 sidecars 4 and 5. And then over the page again, you'll go into the 1000cc sidecars 6, 7, 8. We then go back to 9, 10, 11. Enjoy those 6-lap finals. Yes, it is going to be this afternoon. Now, obviously, with the track in the condition that it is, one of the biggest problems that these riders are going to have this afternoon is getting off this start line. And what a tremendous lineup we've got to start the first race of the day. We should be seeing number 1 out there on the inside of the circuit, the one and only Kelvin Tatum. Next to him, Sean Tacey, Bernd Diener from Germany, Trevor Banks, Stefan Cat, Lee Complin, Maik Groen. That's how they line up. Maik Groen, they're right from the outside, over here from Holland. What will the start line do? Is there an advantage to where you're starting from? Oh, we'll certainly be looking to see whether Kelvin can get off that start line. Made a tremendous start on the outside. It is Matt Reed has got to the front as they go into that first turn. I can see that Kelvin Tatum is back in 4th place, now up into 3rd place as we've lost one of our riders on that first turn. But down the back straight they go, and Matt Reed it is that's setting the pace in this, the first of the 2002 Bonfire Burnup race meeting. Matt Reed is to these then. From in second place, Sean Tacey. Kelvin Tatum is sitting there in third place at the moment, but Matt Reed really does look to have got to grips with this circuit very quickly. He's gone very wide coming out of that top end and dives into the bottom turn. Now we know that it's very, very dry on the inside, and you can see that's where everybody's trying to stay. But Matt Reed really has set a cracking pace. At the moment, back in third place, Kelvin Tatum can do nothing about it. We've lost another rider here on the finishing line. That's number 6, Lee Complin. Very disappointing to see the youngster Lee going out in this, the first qualifying ride. And as our flag marshal sorts his flags out, gives the last lap indication to Matt Reed. He still comfortably leads from Sean Tacey in second, who's now coming under pressure from Kelvin Tatum. Now that could be a change that we see as they go into the last lap. Down the back straight they go. But as the checkered flag is made ready for the very first time this afternoon, it's going to be a great start for the youngster Matt Reed as he takes the first checkered flag in this, the International Burnup. Sean Tacey gets second, Kelvin Tatum in third. Start with the International Solo class, and going down the top of the list, we start with rider number 1. He had a third place finish. Rider number 2, Sean Tacey, in second place. Number 3, Bernd Diener, finishing in 4th. Number 4, Trevor Banks, finished in 5th place. There was no finish for number 5, Stefan Cat, or indeed for number 6, Lee Complin. But a very, very good first place for number 7, Matt Reed. In 6th place, number 8, Maik Groen. So from the top you should have 3, 2, 4, 5, 0, 0, 1 and 6. And a winning time, if you can squeeze it in the space at the bottom, 127.27. 127.27. So quickly we've got the riders on the line for Heat 2. Right on this outside I can see that we've got Mitch Godden. Now watch for number 10, Theo Pijper, just on the inside of him. That looks to be where the better of the start was. Theo Pijper has made a very good start. It is Pijper that gets to the front as they go into that first turn, lifts the bike up in the middle of the bend. He picked up a lot of grip there. It means he's lost ground, and he's going to lose that lead as they go down the back straight. Now the rest of the riders in a gaggle behind them as they go into that pit turn. But coming out on top as they come past me, it is riding number 15 this afternoon. He's out there again going well. Of course, Jeremy Doncaster. Theo Pijper behind him in second place, who we've seen a lot in this country now. He's riding his speedway with Edinburgh, of course. And the race secretary this morning was getting very complicated with me, telling me that he's a Dutchman by nationality. He rides on a German license, would you believe, in the UK. Couldn't get more complicated, could you? But Jeremy Doncaster is the one who's setting the pace in this, the second heat of the day, as they go down the back straight. Really, Jeremy Doncaster and Theo Pijper, a good margin on third place. But just one more lap to go, that could all change as Theo Pijper gets close to Jeremy Doncaster. It is Richard Hall that became Southern Centre champion last weekend, who's in that third place. But you can see there's a change at the front. Theo Pijper has got the lead as they go down the back straight. Jeremy Doncaster back in second and looks to be slowing as they come round this last turn. He could be caught for that second, but as the checkered flag goes, it's Theo Pijper that gets it. Jeremy Doncaster in second. Shane Parker has come through in third place, meaning that we've got Richard Hall in fourth. Of the afternoon then, we stay with the International Solos, and let's start with rider number 9. That's Mitch Godden. He finished in 5th place. Theo Pijper, number 10, finished in a very, very commanding first place. Number 11, Richard Hall in 4th. Number 12, Matthias Kroger in 7th place. No finish there for Darren Rolfe, number 14. Number 15, Jeremy Doncaster in 2nd. Number 16, Shane Parker in 3rd. And number 17, Andrew Appleton in 6th. The winning time was 129.60, 129.60. And for those of you that are interested, they're already averaging 59.9 miles per hour around this circuit. So the lineup then for race 3, as we stay with the International Solo, we've got right on this outside gate, Benny Hegener. Inside him, Paul Cooper. York Teague on the inside of him. Joe Screen riding number 22 today. David Howe, who we've seen have some fantastic rides this season. Great to see Enrico Janoschka back here. The youngster Jason Tick and Zdenek Schneiderwind. Well, it is certainly the starter not happy with what's going on. All sorts of problems as Paul Cooper decides to break away from the start line. Everybody else takes the hint, and they all now decide to go and try and regroup again. Well, it certainly is still very, very deep on this start line. It must be horrendous for them trying to get grip. Always a difficult thing. If you've had a go at this sort of racing yourself, you'll know exactly what I'm saying when you've got to try and feed it out the gate. If you put it on full throttle, drop the clutch, then you're just going to sit there and spin. That's going to do you no good whatsoever. So the starter becking the riders that he wants them back in line again. In fact, I think it was Paul Cooper that may well have had some problems. He's returned back to the pits, and he's now right over there on the far side. I can see that Zdenek Schneiderwind is not looking happy. The pit gate has opened again, so whether he's got problems with machinery so early in the day. In fact, he does look as if he's walking back into the pit. Now, I'm just wondering whether that does mean that the referee has excluded Zdenek. Well, he quickly jumps over the board. I'm not getting any information at all to say that's what's happened, but it was Zdenek that was pushing the tapes on the inside, so whether the referee was not happy with that, and he's been taken out of this first ride. Disappointing for Zdenek Schneiderwind then, as we see the rest of the riders back in position, ready to go. Has made a very good start on the inside, and it is Joe that's got to the front. All sorts of problems for Jason King, very, very slow to get off the line, but it's Joe Screen that's got away as they go down the back straight for the first time. Oh, trying to pick up who that is in second spot. I'll check that for you as they come round, but it is most certainly Joe Screen that's got away. He's getting very close for that first place now, though. That's David Howe is the rider that's got close to him. Jorge Tebbi is the rider in third, and that's Paul Cooper in fourth at the moment. And David Howe has hit problems by the look of it. He slows coming out of that top bend. Got machinery going again, so quite what that was I don't know. But it's certainly given the advantage to Joe Screen as he now pulls away from the rest of the field. David's still there in second place. Jorge Tebbi still holding third, Paul Cooper in fourth. And losing ground on them a little bit is Benny Hegener. So as we all watch that far side, Joe Screen taking it very cautiously into the pit bend. Trying to find what sort of line he can get out of that bend, I'm sure, as he goes into the last lap. This will be exactly the start that he would have wanted. David Howe now starting to come back at him though. Really not good conditions at all if you're way back there in the crowd. Well, all sorts of problems for Paul Cooper on the far side. But as they come to the checkered flag, we get another result. It is a win for Joe Screen, number 22, David Howe in second, Jorge Tebbi in third. First heats for the international solos. We start with a result for number 18, Zdenek Schneiderwind. No finish there at all for him. Number 19, Jason King, also no finish. 20, Enrico Janoschka finishes in 6th place. Number 21, David Howe in 2nd. A win for number 22, Joe Screen. In 3rd place goes number 23, Jorge Tebbi. In 5th place, number 24, Paul Cooper. And 4th place finisher there, number 25, Benny Hegener. The winning time, 132.25, 132.25. They were indeed averaging 58.19. Now, I did get a chance to have a chat with Malcolm Goodwin this morning, and he explained to me that you'll notice they are still all single-cylinder machines, apart from one of them, and I'm rapidly trying to think who that was that's got a multi, but most of them are still single-cylinder, and they're coming out around about 670 set at top limit. Now, we don't know whether that's going to make that much difference, and particularly with the conditions playing such a big part, the 500cc's with a much more even power band may well be what is needed here this afternoon. And the biggest problem, of course, is they've all sat there in the pits and watched the solos struggle off of this start line. They equally are going to have just as much problem. So let's have a look then at the first race. We've got right on the inside, number 1, Joseph Onderke, passengered by Martin Wilhammer. We've seen Onderke here before. We know he's a very, very talented rider. Next to him is Mel Goodwin and Gary Rockall. Next to them is Yves Hoekstra and Eric Van Dijk. It is indeed Onderke that's got to the front as they go into that first turn. There's a group of riders in that second place, but it's all looking to change as they come out of that first bend. Oh, they sort themselves out as they go down the back straight. You can see exactly what sort of problems they've got, as we've lost one outfit on the far side. Keith Drury, we believe it is, that's connected with the boards. And the red flag's being brought out in the interest of safety. The outfit and indeed the driver still on the race circuit. And as I look through the binoculars, I can just see that Keith is in fact up on his feet. Well, it does look as if we've got the riders now making their way back to the start line, and it's given us a chance to sort out who that was out there on number 23. And we have all come to the conclusion that it is actually Tony Stark and Darren Wood. Now, you've got them down there in your programme as reserves. That's number 22 in your programme, but I think he's just stayed with his normal 23. So we will score on Tony Stark and Darren Wood as 23. And if you want to leave him where he is in your list of riders, then we'll put his finishing positions in that box. Now, we also heard and had confirmed from the pits that number 11, Albert de Risteveld, is a non-starter. So in actual effect, it's the reason why Tony is coming out in this ride. We also understand that, very disappointingly, number 9, Willem Mathiasen, is not here this afternoon either. Now, I hadn't realised that when I went around the pits this morning, but very disappointing that Willem Mathiasen, I thought I'd seen him, but I'm told he is a non-starter. Well, indeed, the information's flying in now, because I've just heard that Willem is actually here, and he has practiced, but he hasn't got a passenger. So we know that he's actually here. So now I was thinking that maybe on the inside there this is the worst place to start from, but Joseph Onderke, with all his experience, made a very, very good start there. What will he do this time? Oh, indeed, he's done exactly that. He flies into that first turn. It is Joseph Onderke that's made the best of the starts, and there's all sorts of problems for Raz Palmer there in that first turn, but no such problems for the rider out in front, Joseph Onderke and Martin Van Breckenstammer. I know you were waiting for me to pronounce that one. That's the crew that's out in front. As they fly past, Tony Stark, the reserve coming in, is sitting in second place. And passengered by Darren Wood, we believe. Tony Stark there, as he sits in, well, I was going to say second place, but he's now been caught by Yves Hoekstra and Eric Van Dijk as they go into that pit bend for the second time. Joseph Onderke making it look very, very easy at the moment as he leads. And Malcolm Goodwin finding his way through at long last. He's in third place now in front of Tony Stark. So he's now perhaps getting the measure of the circuit. And he chases after Yves Hoekstra as they go down the back straight. One more lap to go then for the very impressive Joseph Onderke and Martin Van Thraxrammer, as they lead this very first ride for up to 750cc. Big gap between them and second place there, Yves Hoekstra. Oh, there goes the checkered flag, the first of the 750s this afternoon, and Joseph Onderke takes a very impressive win. And from from the very top of the list. Let's start with number 1, Joseph van Derker and Martin van Presrammer. They finish in first place. Number 2, Malcolm Goodwin and Gary Rockel in third. Number 3, Jig Hoekstra and Eric van Dijk finishing in second. As we go down the programme, we've got no finish there for number 10, Brian Palmer. Equally no start for number 11 and no finish for number 12, Keith Jury. Fourth place goes to number 23, Tony Stark and Darren Wood, and the winning time was 1:35.97, averaging 55.92. 5 Willis and Mike Simpson. Number 7, Marcus Branhoff and Marco Hansruka. 8 is Andy Kerrison and Gareth Bemister. And we don't believe that we're going to see number 9, Willem Mathiasen, which is very disappointing, but not an easy one to predict. At the moment they're all waiting patiently for number 7, Marcus Brandhoff. He's obviously got problems getting his machinery started. He's still sitting in that pit box. Frantically mechanics working away on machinery. Who's been brought to the starting tapes. What can Lester Goodwin do on the inside? Oh, they get underway. And it's absolutely left on the gate as the rest dive into that first turn. Lester Goodwin slotting into second at the moment. I believe that's Carl Kill that's got to the front, but we'll check that as they come round past me. Great disappointment for Andy Kerrison. They're left on the start line. He's got to work very, very hard to get back into contention. But Lester Goodwin in second place. Can he get the lead back? It is indeed number 5, Carl Kill, ready for got the lead. Into the top end they go for the second time. Trying to slow things down as they go into that bend. You can see that Lester Goodwin got very, very close going into the bend, and I'm sure that's done deliberately. What they'll do is he'll slow up going into the bend, which means he does get the good line around the bend, and then hopefully he can bring the power on gently as he come out of the bend and drive up the finishing straight. Well, those two pulling away a little bit from Mike Simpson in third place. And it really is a question of whether Lester Goodwin can catch Carl Kill. No such luck at the moment as Carl Kill puts the pressure on once again, drives hard into that pit bend. This is the last lap flag for them this time as they come round, and Carl Kill and Reddy Coulter setting the pace in front of Lester Goodwin and Andrew Stevens. Number 6, Clive Willis and Mike Simpson still trying to stay in contention, but they are really letting that gap open up a bit too much. Carl Kill certainly looks as if he's done enough as he sees the checkered flag this time as he comes round. So first time out this afternoon, it's a win for number 5, Carl Kill and Reddy Coulter. So let's give you the result then of race 5 in your programme. We were with the up to 750cc International Sidecars, and number 4, Lester Goodwin Andrew Stevens had a second place. The winner though, in very, very convincing form, number 5, Carl Kill and Rennie Falter. Number 6, Clive Willis and Mike Simpson got a third place. Number 7, Marcus Brandhoff and Marco Hansruka, no start for them and no points. Number 8, Andy Kerrison and Gareth Bemister got a 5th. Again, no score for number 9. As we move down to the reserves, it's number 20, Tony Cook and Terry Greenwood. They get a 4th place. So, a winning time of 141.40, 141.40, as we now move over the page to the 1000cc sidecars for the very first time this afternoon. And as we look to the starting lineup of this very first heat for the 1000cc sidecars, I've got to say it's personally great to see back over here from Australia, outfit number 1, Darren Treloar and Justin Plaisted. Now they did experiment this morning with the grass outfit of Steph Blythe, but I can see they have actually come out on the Speedway outfit. Now that is going to make life interesting, because we know that people like to use the Speedway machinery here on the Tunbridge circuit, but I think he's going to struggle with that, but who am I to say? John Halsey, of course, the British Masters champion, goes in this one first time. He's up there with Miles Simmons and Dave Hogan, Matt Pomerola and Andy Wilson, James Rogers, Damien James, Mick Cave and Richard Masterson. For the first time, and Darren Trelaw gets a tremendous start. Well, he really did rocket out of the gate. You can see he goes into that first turn. I told you I know nothing about this sport. What did I say? That Speedway outfit wouldn't be good this afternoon. Darren Trelaw can ride any circuit in the world. He drives into that top bend. He is, of course, the champion of the Super Cup Series on the Speedway that we run very successfully this season. Great ride in second place in the move for Miles Simmons and Dave Hogan. They're just in front of John Halsey and Jason Glennie. And a big gap then back to James Rogers and Matt Pomerola. But as we look to the front, Darren Trelaw and Justin Plaisted. I'd asked them this morning when I interviewed them for the video, have you been keeping your hand in at all since you returned back over to us? And he said, well, Jim, I suppose you could say I've been keeping my hand in. He said, I've had 6 meetings around the northern area of Queensland and down the south coast. He said, I've been out 6 times, I've had 4 wins and 2 seconds to reigning Australian champion Mike O'Brien. Now that's the sort of calibre he is. Of course, if they are successful this afternoon, this Australian crew, it's not going to be a first here at Tunbridge, because those of you that have followed the sport closely will remember, of course, that we had a visit from another Australian champion, that was Glenn Huff, back in, that was 1997 in fact, when you may remember the outfit of Gary Moon, etc. coming over. But it was no fluke at all that Darren Trelaw and Justin Plaisted won the Super Cup Series on the Speedway, and you can see exactly why. Tremendous start to the afternoon for the Australian champions. The CC sidecars this afternoon. Let's keep to the same format. Let's start from the very top. Outfit number 1, Darren Trelaw and Justin Plaisted. They take first place. Outfit number 3, Mick Cave and Richard Masterson finished in 6th. Number 4, James Rogers and Damien James finished in 4th. Number 5, Matt Pomerola and Andy Wilson finished in 5th. Number 9, Miles Simmons and Dave Hogan, a great start to the day for them, they finished in 2nd. Number 13, John Halsey and Jason Glennie, they take a 3rd place. The winning time was 1:30.74, averaging 59.15. 15, Ivan Matthews and Tony Miles, who won this event last year. And if anybody can keep with the Australian champions, I'm sure a lot of hopes will be in their hands. Number 17, Dave Steer and John Richards. Number 18, Paul Vickley, Paul Silvera. Number 19, Lee Ray and Andy Wood. And number 23, Gary Jackson and Carl Pugh. We've got problems for Lee Ray. You know what happened earlier to Zdenek Schneiderwind. And the official is indicating that he's got to go back on the 15-metre mark. And our finishing marshal most certainly making it very clear what he wanted that driver to do. In no polite terms at all. That's where I want you, that's where you're going, and that's where he ends up. Well, problem for Dave Steer now is see all sorts of problems on this start line. it looks as if we've got two outfits now that have been told they've got to go back 15 metres. This time hopefully we'll get them underway. Now Lee Ray is quickly back into the hunt. He's caught up with the field in front of him. Dave Steer not getting quite such a good start, but if we look to the front of the field, it is Ivor Matthews and passenger Tony Miles that lead as they go into that top bend for the first time. Well, I mentioned that they won it last year, and I'm sure they'd love to do the double. Whitney and Paul Silvera that have got that second place at the moment, as it's all changed a bit further down the field. Dave Steer definitely trying to get in on the action, looking to get past Lee Ray as he comes around that bottom turn. But a big gap between second and third place, and Dave Steer has moved up into fourth. Now, Nero having all sorts of problems keeping that outfit going. Dave Steer's recognised that, I'm sure, as he locks it up going into that bottom bend. And really, I think my eyes are going to stay on that battle for third place, because Neil Owen is going very wide, and Dave Steer takes full advantage. Well, while I've been watching that going on, of course, let's not take it away from Ivor Matthews and Tony Miles. They're setting a very good pace at the front of the field. And as I'm sure all of you have recognised, the big problem for the sidecar drivers, if you get up behind somebody, all that mud gets thrown at you. It's very difficult to see. They do use the tear-off visor systems, but it can sometimes be a real struggle keeping up with it. I'm just wondering, really, if I look at Paul Bickley and Paul Silvera as they go by, I don't think they were seeing an awful lot. It's the second of the 1000cc sidecars, and out for the first time, number 14, Neil Owen and Dylan Davis. They finished in fourth place. Number 15, Ivor Matthews and Tony Miles, they take the win. Number 17, Dave Steer and John Richards in third place. Number 18, Paul Bickley and Paul Silvera in second. Number 19, Lee Ray and Andy Wood in fifth. And number 23, Gary Jackson, Carl Pugh, no finish. The winning time was 1:32.85 and an average speed of 57.80. So 1:32.85, 57.8 they have. Last of the first leg rides for the sidecars, and you may have noticed that the 1000cc sidecars, due to the increased entry, are only getting 3 qualifying rides, so no opportunity for dropping a ride at all. All 3 will be counting, I'm sure, for everybody. No room for error whatsoever. As we look at the rest of the competitors making the complete field this afternoon, number 60, Richard Thomas and Kevin Woodley, right on this outside gate for the first time. Nick Tower and Tony Baisby, Duncan Tolles, Nick Owen, Paul Whitelam and Kevin Jones. Ian the Amos, Paul Phillips, and right on the inside, John Hiscock and Simon Wall. Well, they get underway. Richard Thomas looks to have made a good one. Duncan Tolles has as well. They sort themselves out as they go into the first turn. It is Duncan Tolles that's got to the front. Richard Thomas is right there with him though, as they open up going down that back straight. Oh, those two starting to pull away a little bit. John Hiscock is moving through though, back in that fourth place. You can see he made a very good move to get up into fourth, and already looking to go after third. But Duncan Tolles and Nick Owen fly past us with Richard Thomas and Kevin Woodley in second. Paul Whitelam, Kevin Jones in that third place. But not too far away from them is John Hiscock and Simon Wall. Oh, we watch to see if there will be change. And look at John Hiscock catch up on Paul Whitelam. Oh, he really is flying down that back straight, John Hiscock. I'm waiting to see whether there will be a change there. You can see how John Hiscock is now setting the bike up, looking to get the drive on quickly. That's where he gets faster. And in fact, he's gone a little bit wide, so whether he's wondering if he locks himself up too much going into that bottom turn, he's in fact trying the outside, and he's gone round brilliantly. Oh, a tremendous bowling turn from John Hiscock, once again showing all that experience. He gets himself up into third. Now, what can he do about closing this gap down in second place? Oh, Richard Thomas is sat behind Duncan Tolles, and it looks as if there may well be another change as well a bit further down the field, as Ian Lee Amos now starts to look for that fourth place. Duncan Tolles takes the win. Richard Thomas in second, John Hiscock in third. Take rides for the 1000cc sidecars, and let's go down from the top again. We got 60, Richard Thomas and Kevin Woodley finishing in second. 62, Mick Turrell and Tony Baisby in sixth. 74, Duncan Tolhurst and Nick Owen in first place. 92, Paul Whitelam and Kevin Jones in fourth. 183, Ian Lee Amos and Paul Phillips in fifth. 184, John Hiscock and Simon Wall in third. 133.95 was the winning time. 133.95, 57.13 they averaged. So we now turn the pages back a little bit as we get back to page 15, where you will find race 9, and the competitors should be coming out: number 3, Bernd Diener; number 6, Lee Complin, who we didn't see first time out. I don't know whether he is actually turning out to be a non-starter. Number 9, Mitch Godden, I can see is out there. Number 12, Matthias Kroger. Number 16, Shane Parker, who had a third place first time out. 19, Jason King, and let's not miss number 22, Joe Screen. In fact, checking the riders across this start line, it does look as if there is no Lee Complin. He didn't come out in his first ride, he's not come out for his second. The other rider we're waiting for is Jason King, who looks to be having problems on that bottom turn, getting machinery actually started. The starter calling the rest of the riders in, as it does look as if we're going to go without Jason King. So, can Joe Screen make it 2 out of 2? Very good start. Shane Parker has made a good one as well, and it is Shane that gets to the front. Mitch Godden going round the outside of Joe Screen, but Joe Screen coming back at him and getting up into second place. But while that battle's gone on for second, you can see that Shane Parker has got away, and he looks to be in very determined form this afternoon. And as we look to that top turn, once again it is Shane Parker that Joe Screen has not been able to stay with at all. Oh, I wasn't expecting to see this sort of gap. You remember that Joe Screen did have a win first time. Shane in fact looks over his shoulder, wondering where the competition should be coming from. Mitch Godden still sitting there in third. Bernd Diener is holding fourth place, which is exactly where he finished in his first ride. But there's no stopping Shane Parker as he goes into that pit turn for the third time. It'll be last lap flag for him this time. Joe Screen still just keeping his nose in front of Mitch Godden, but he's not been able to close that gap on Shane Parker. So perhaps interesting to keep an eye on the time for Shane Parker, because he very much looks to be in control, almost coasting into that last turn. It will be the checkered flag for him this time. So Shane Parker, who had a third first time out, follows it with a win. So let's give you the result of race 9 then, as they're out for the second time this afternoon. From the very top, number 3, Bernd Diener, he got a 4th place. Number 6, Lee Complin, no finish. Number 9, Mitch Godden, 6th place. Number 12, Matthias Kroger in 3rd place. Number 16, Shane Parker, race victory for him, 1st place. Number 19, Jason King, no start. Number 22, Joe Screen in 2nd. And number 25, Benny Hegener in 5th place. 127.13 was the time, 127.13. 61.60 they were averaging, so almost unbelievable. They're getting up to an average of 60 mile an hour around this circuit with all its problems. So let's look to see who we've got going in race 10. Coming to the line, Sean Tacey, who had a 2nd first time out. We didn't see Stefan Catt. I don't think he's out there again this time. Number 5, yes he is. I can see Stefan on the inside. Stefan Catt doesn't look pleased with the tiny little position he's been left. Asking the starter to move them over and make a bit more of a position for him. Right on the inside is number 21, David Howe. He had a second place first time out. So watch for him. We've got Paul Cooper out there as well, number 24. Richard Hall, who had a fourth, he's on number 11. It looks to be David Howe that's made the best of it. But at the moment he's got somebody going right the way around the outside of him who I can't identify at the moment, so we'll try and pick that up for you as they go into that bottom turn. I can see that David Howe is coming right back at him. His number 18 in fact, Zdenek Schneiderwind. So Zdenek Schneiderwind, who in fact we think was excluded from his first ride for touching the tapes. He's out there, and problems for David Howe as I look across that far side. David Howe slows as he goes down the back straight. It means that Zdenek Schneiderwind takes over once again. Paul Cooper up in second. It's number 8, Maik Groen, that's in third place at the moment. But all eyes at the moment on Zdenek Schneiderwind as he goes into that fit bend. Sure as amazed as anybody that he's got this sort of lead, because you can see David Howe is pushing off with mechanical problems. Richard Hall is up in third place in front of Maik Groen, and a lot of disappointed fans I'm sure to see Jeremy Doncaster that far back. And we see we've lost Richard Hall on that far side. The checkered flag is going to go out even though we've got a rider falling on the far side. Zdenek Schneiderwind takes the win. Paul Cooper getting the second place. And all eyes at the moment, I'm sure, on Richard Hall. We hope that he's perfectly okay. He's sitting up certainly on the far side of the circuit. In your programme as race 11. Let's give you the result of race 10 and stick to the format we started with. Rider number 2, Sean Tacey, no show, so no points and no finishing place. Number 5, Stefan Catt, finished in 4th place. Number 8, Maik Groen, finished in 3rd place. Number 11, Richard Hall, no finish. In number 15, Jeremy Doncaster, a 5th place. Number 18, Zdenek Schneiderwind, a win, the 1st place credited. Number 21, David Howe, of course he stopped, so no finishing place for him. Number 24, Paul Cooper in 2nd. The time was 1:28.88. 1:28.88, 60.39. 60.39. I suppose we ought to mention all our track staff out there this afternoon. They're working in atrocious conditions, and our little bit of glamour that's on the start line as well. That the young ladies have come out holding the number boards for the gate positions. Not really best pleased, I'd imagine, with the conditions underfoot. But everybody's sticking to their task. Sticking being the operative word, I think, when they're out there. So as we look to race 11, we see the last of the riders out for the second time. Number 1, Kelvin Tatum, has got a much better starting position this time. He's out against Theo Pijper again though, and it's Theo that's in there in 2nd place. But Kelvin Tatum has got away. He goes down the back straight. And Theo Pijper, number 10, you can see in 2nd spot. But Kelvin Tatum it is that's setting the pace as they come past me for the 2nd time. Theo Pijper followed by number 17, Andrew Appleton, who had a 6th place first time out. Much better ride for him this time. And remember, the international solos do get 4-point scoring rides, so they can technically afford to have one poor result. I'm sure they don't bank on that at all. They want to get the best results they can out of every single ride. And I just realised that we've got number 7, Matt Reed, back in 4th place at the moment. He had a win first time out this afternoon. So things not going his way at the moment. As the last attacker, is there problems with Theo Pijper? Now I'm not sure if he he's slowed because he thought that was the finish, or whether he's actually got problems. But Theo Pijper has most certainly slowed on the far side, and he's coasting down the back straight. Now we've got the checkered flag out already for Kelvin Tatum. He takes the win. Number 17 finishing in second place, Andrew Appleton. That's a good result for him. Number 7, Matt Reed, he's elevated up into third. Trevor Banks in fourth. Now, disappointing to look across the far side for Theo Pijper. He had a win first time out, you may remember. In your programme, a win for number 1, Kelvin Tatum. In fourth place goes number 4, Trevor Banks. Number 7, Matt Reed, finished in third place. Number 10, Theo Pijper, no finish. Number 14, Darryl Rolfe, no finish. Number 17, Andrew Appleton in second. Number 20, Enrico Janoschka in sixth place. Number 23, Jorge Tebbi in fifth place. The winning time, 124.81, 124.81, 63.28. And I'd missed there that the reserve, Nathan Irwin, got a 7th place finish. So we now change our tacks. We have our number boards on the same side as they were for the solos. We're of course with the 750cc Sidecar Internationals. And quickly looking at this lineup, I can see that we've got Jozef van Derke and Martin van Versrammer, because they had a win first time out. What can they do as the track does look to be drying out? Up against number 4, Lester Goodwin and Andrew Stevens. They've got a much better starting position this time. They're a lot further out, not in the deep stuff on the inside. They're on almost the racing line in gate 4. Also adding to the interest, we've got number 5, Carl Kiel and Rennie Folter. They had a win first time out as well. Joined by number 8, Andy Kerrison. And have we got number 12, Keith Drury? Don't think we have. So, as with the international solos, the 750 chairs do have 4 qualifying rides to get them into that A or B final. And the moment setting the pace is number 1, Jozef van Derke, and number 5, Carl Kiel. And ironically, these two are out together in the race we've got, having trouble getting to the start line by the look of it. Well, I'm not really sure what the problem is, but by the look of it, Andy Kerrison and Gareth Bemister have had to pull out. They pushed the outfit onto the inside, so 4 outfits only, but still a very interesting one in prospect, because we've got both heat winners from the first legs. That's Jozef van Derke and Carl Kiel. Mixed in with them, second place for Lester Goodwin. What can he do this time? Lester Goodwin has got there as well. So this certainly could be an interesting one, because Jozef van Derke is in third place at the moment. He's the one with all the work to do. Carl Kiel away as they go down the back straight. Lester Goodwin under pressure now already from Jozef van Derke. And as they look to come together in that bottom bend, who's going to get the better of it? Well, Carl Kiel certainly has as they go up the straight. Jozef van Derke is getting to Lester Goodwin. He's pushing him on, willing him to chase after Carl Kiel. Don't let him get away from us, he's saying. Just keep going. Well, you can see they're working hard in that second place, but Carl Kiel does look to have the advantage. Well, Lester Goodwin doing very, very well to keep out Jozef van Derke at the moment. And van Derke's a lot closer this time. He's looking away from on the inside. He gets there. Now, what can he do about Carl Kiel? He certainly won the battle for that second place. He looks to be very quick, particularly coming out of this pit bend. And that's where he seems to get the advantage. You can see he almost rolls it off completely going into the bend, lines himself up, and this is where he puts the drive on. down at machinery. I'm not quite sure whether there's got problems in that second spot, but this is a good ride once again from Carl Kiel and Rennie Falter, holding off fellow countrymen Jozef von Derke and Martin van Plaskershammer. And here they come this time. They're looking for a wider line. It's going to be the checkered flag, and Kiel has done enough. Jozef von Derke gets second, but he certainly let him know he was there. And Lester Goodwin has to be content with third. Reads as from the top, number 1 Jozef von Derke and Martin van Plaskershammer. They finish in second place. Number 4 Lester Goodwin and Andrew Stevens in third. Number 5 Carl Kiel and Rennie Falter. A win for them, the only crew on 2 rides and 2 wins. Number 8 Andy Kerrison and Gareth Bemister, a non-starter, as indeed was number 9 and number 12. Fourth place though goes to number 20 Tony Cook and Terry Greenwood. 135.48, 135.48, 56.21 the average speed. And a quick reminder to you that there's a dinner dance on Saturday the 15th of February. That's the Grangemore Hotel, Maidstone. 3-course meal, disco and presentation. That's the traditional venue for the Tunbridge and Mulling Motorcycle Club as it is now named. And if there's anybody from Lester Goodwin's pit crew, we've had your visor handed in here. So we now look to race 13. Can Mel Goodwin and Gary Rockwell have a better ride this time? They had a rather disappointing third place. They're up against Jörg Hofstra and Eric van Dijk in gate position number 2. They had a second first time out. Clive Willis and Mike Simpson had a third. Now has number 7 Marcus Brandhoff and Marco Hanzuka got to the line this time? They certainly have. So a bit of an unknown package there. We don't know what they're going to be able to do. Brian Palmer and Danny Hogg had a disappointing stoppage in their first ride. All sorts of problems for Mel Goodwin. He leaped in the air and you can see as he'd already pulled off into the centre circuit. So problems for Mel Goodwin, and that really is going to put the pressure on for him in his last 2 rides. As the rest of the 4 of them sort themselves out into that pit bend, making the best of it was the man that got that flying start. It's Raz Palmer and Danny Hogg. Clive Willis and Mike Simpson in second place to them. Well, in fact, Brian Palmer again looks to be having problems. He's slowed on the far side, and indeed I've just been corrected that I understand it's Tony Stark that's pulled out. So, looking for Mel Goodwin, and as I say that, I can see that they're at the back of the field at the moment, so perhaps mechanical problems for them as well. As it all closes up for the 1, 2 and 3, Clive Willis has actually got the first place at the moment. Brian Palmer in second place. But really nothing between these 3 as they go into the last lap this time as they come round past us. Well, that's Marcus Brandhoff and Marco Handruka that are in that third place, but they do look to be under pressure, and in fact I'm now being told Malcolm Goodwin has pulled out. So there is only 3 outfits remaining in this one as the checkered flag is made ready for them. That's going to be a good win for Clive Willis. That second place, and I'll leave that one to the line judge. That really was close for that second place. In your programme, let's give you the official result as we start from the top. Number 2, Mel Goodwin and Gary Rockwell. No finish for them. Number 3, Jörg Hofstra and Eric van Dijk. No finish for them. Number 6, Clive Willis and Mike Simpson, though a much better story there. They had a win. Number 7, Marcus Brandhoff and Marco Handruka. They did win. They did lose that battle for that second place. They finish in third. Number 10, Brian Palmer and Danny Hogg. They get accredited the second place. And number 23, Tony Stark and Darren Wood. No finish. 138.55 is the winning time. 138.55, 54.46 the average speed. So as we now turn the page once again, we move to race 14 as we change to the 1000cc sidecars. So who have we got in this one? We've got number 1, Darren Treloar and Justin Plaisted. They've got gate 6 this time, what they can do from the outside. Number 3, Mick Cave and Richard Masterton. Number 14, Neil Owen and Dylan Davis. 15, Ivor Matthews and Tony Miles. 60, Richard Thomas and Kevin Woodley. And 62, Mick Turrell, Tony Baseby. So 2 outfits that had wins first time out. That's number 1, Darren Treloar, and number 15, Ivor Matthews. Both in different positions. I'll wait to see how they line up because it still looks very, very boggy on the inside. Those in gates 1, 2 and probably 3, depending on how they line up. Mick Turrell has gone right to the inside. Now Neil Owen should be in gate 4. I don't think he's wanting to give too much away. He doesn't want to let people come out on this better racing line. And Darren Treloar should be in gate 6, but you can see he's already over quite considerably. Well, as they're pointing out to me, I'm looking at Mick Cave coming to the line. Darren Treloar hasn't even got here yet. He has got to come to this outside. There's still quite a decent bit of racing circuit there for him to line up on, and we know he had a tremendous start from the inside. Now, what can they do? They've watched the pace anxiously. Up to the Darren Treloar anticipated that one brilliantly. Now the outfits do get in front of us. Mick Cave has got to the front. Darren Treloar tries to get around the outside of him, but Mick Cave is holding him off. Darren Treloar, the long way round. Can he get by him? Mick Cave says, no way, you're not coming through there, but Darren Treloar keeps trying. He's gone the long way round, and we know that these Aussies do like to ride the boards. He's got himself to the front. Mick Cave in second, at the moment. Neil Owen is the rider in 3rd place. And the big disappointment in this one has got to be that last year's winner, Ivor Matthews, is right at the back of the field. We would have expected to see him up there battling with Darren Treloar, but that was left to Mick Cave and he could only hold him off for the best part of 1 lap. But now Treloar and Plaisted have got themselves away. They come to Mick Cave and Richard Masterton. And what can Ivor Matthews do? Has he got 1 place? He's got himself up into 5th slot. But he's still got a lot of work to do. Remember, it is only 3-point scoring rides. He had a win first time out, but he can't afford to drop too many places this time. 1 more lap to go. 1 outfit we, I think, are going to be sure of seeing in the final. This is very impressive. This is what sidecar racing is like in Australia. They've been at it for many, many years, and I think all the interviews I had when I was going around the sidecar speedway circuits this year was that, of course, they've been at it a long time. They've learned a lot, and they certainly demonstrate that. Richard Masterton, 2nd place. Number 14, Neil Owen and Dylan Davis in 6th place. 15, Ivor Matthews and Tony Miles in 5th. 60, Richard Thomas and Kevin Woodley in 3rd. 62, Mick Turrell and Tony Baseby in 4th. The winning time was 1:29.49, 1:29.49, 59.97 they averaged, 59.97. So we stay with the 1000cc sidecars and we look to race 15 in your programme. Let's see who we've got. We've got James Rogers and Damien Jays, Matt Pomerola and Andy Wilson, Dave Steer and John Richards. They had a 3rd place first time out. Paul Bickley, Paul Silvera had a 2nd. Down the bottom there we've got Duncan Tolhurst and Nick Owen. They had a win first time out. And Paul Whitelum, Kevin Jones with a 4th. So Paul Whitelum, the last to come into line, and interesting perhaps that we've got Duncan Tolhurst right on that inside gate. It still does look very, very deep on those inside gates. Made a good one from the outside. Can he get all the way across? The answer to that is yes, he can. He gets himself to the front. And as the rest sort themselves out, Duncan Tolhurst has got a lot of work to do because he didn't get off of that start line. You can see that we've got James Rogers trying to go around the outside for that second place. Paul Bickley and Paul Silvera that are in that second place, but under pressure from James Rogers and Damien James. That's a good scrap for that second place. Slightly different machinery. Paul Bickley's of course more the traditional Grasstrack machinery, and Damien James model James Rogers and Damien James all the lines off the speedway outfit. Now there's a big scrap going on a bit further down the field though, because Duncan Tolhurst, who had a win first time out, is trapped between Paul Whitelum and Dave Steer. And they really are scrapping for that fourth place. Duncan Tolhurst has gone through, Dave Steer tries to go through as well. And Duncan is starting to pick them up now as they come up past me. He chases after James Rogers. Very quick in that bottom turn, and already he's through into third place. Well, the gap just seemed to open up there as they went into that bottom turn. And Duncan Tolhurst has got up into third. It will be checkered flag this time for them as they come to the line. And this is going to be a tremendous win for Matt from Roller and Andy Wilson. Paul Bickley, Paul Silvera in second, Duncan Tolhurst in third. A result for outfit number 4, James Rogers and Damien James. They in fact get fourth place. Number 5, Matt from Arola and Andy Wilson. A tremendous ride from them. They take a win. Further down the page we go. Number 17, Dave Steer and John Richards. A 6th place for them. 18, Paul Bickley, Paul Silvera. A 2nd place finish. And number 74, Duncan Tolhurst and Nick Owen. They take a 3rd. 92, Paul Whitelum and Kevin Jones take 5th. And the winning time was 1:33.37, 57.48. So that's race 15. We move on to race 16. And we've now seen all of our first heat victors, I should say. That was Darren Treloar. He followed it with a win. Ivan Matthews followed it with a 5th. And Duncan Tolhurst followed it with a 3rd. It means that, as far as I can see, all the points have well and truly jumbled up, because Richard Thomas and Kevin Woodley have had a 2nd and a 3rd. So they must be scoring consistently. Paul Bickley, Paul Silvera, 2 seconds. They're in amongst it as well. So what can they do in race 16? Because Miles Simmons had a 2nd first time out. John Halsey had a 3rd. Lee Ray had a 5th. Gary Jackson didn't finish. Ian Lee Amos had a 5th. And John Hiscock had a 3rd. Up to the tapes. John Hiscock has made a very good start. He's got himself into that first turn ahead of the field. The rest try and sort themselves out. Miles Simmons is a long way back at the moment. He's got work to do, as indeed has John Halsey, who I think has got problems. Well, look at, no, he hasn't. John Halsey's moved up into 2nd as I say that. It was Ian Lee Amos I was looking at. He slowed on that back straight. In the 2nd spot, chasing after John Hiscock and passenger Simon Wall. And those two really starting to pull away. And I think they've taken a lesson out of Darren Treloar's book, because both of them have actually changed to Speedway outfits. And that does seem to be the order of the day now for the rest of the afternoon racing. Miles Simmons has battled through well and got himself up into 3rd place. So he's still scoring consistently, but all eyes, I'm sure, are on that first and second place, because John Halsey is definitely closing on John Hiscock. Now, he had a tremendous start, John Hiscock. You remember he had a third place first time out. But John Halsey really looks determined to get by him, and he finds a way through on the inside. Well, he looked to go around the outside, but he changed his mind at the last minute going into that bottom turn, and he's driven his way through on the inside. John Hiscock tries to come back at him, but at the moment it does look as if John Halsey's going to get the win as they come off that top bend. That was a very, very tight bottom turn, but it means that Halsey gets the win. The last of the second leg rides for the 1000cc sidecars, and from the top, number 9, Miles Simmons and Dave Hogan get third place. John Halsey and Jason Glennie, number 13, they take the win. Number 19, Lee Ray and Andy Wood, 5th place. Number 23, Gary Jackson, Carl Pugh, no finish. Number 183, Ian Lee Amos and Paul Phillips, 4th place to them. Number 184, John Hiscock and Simon Walls, 2nd place finish. And the winning time, 1:30.88, 1:30.88, 59.06. So as we quickly turn our attention back to page 15 in your program, we turn our attention back to the solos, and I can confirm that the pits have now informed me that there will be no fourth leg rides for the solo and 750 sidecars. So much more important now, this third ride. At the moment we've got Joe Screen top of the list with 18 points. He's rider number 22, and we'll see him in race 19. Number 16, Shane Parker, he's on 16 points from 2 rides. He goes in this one. Number 1, Kelvin Tatum, also on 16 points. He also goes in this one. Number 7, Matt Reed, on 16 points. He goes in race 18. So they're the ones that are leading at the moment. What will happen after this third and final ride? Well, all sorts of problems there for number 15, Jeremy Doncaster. He's being pointed at by the starter, checking with the referee. And I think what they're telling him is you've got to go back 15 metres. So that gives Shane Parker a bit more daylight on the outside of him. Kelvin Tatum is right on this outside gate. So the third, I think this one's going to be between. He's forced Kelvin Tatum to go wide on him as they go into that first turn, but it is Trevor Banks that's setting the pace. Kelvin Tatum and Shane Parker tucked in behind him, but Trevor Banks is the one that's got away, but Kelvin Tatum now goes by him. And this will be interesting. Can Trevor Banks hold up Shane Parker? Let Kelvin Tatum get away. No, Shane Parker's choosing which way he's going to go round him. And all the time that Shane Parker will be battling to get past Trevor Banks, it means that Kelvin Tatum can enjoy the freedom to get away. And that's exactly what he's doing, going down that back straight with front wheel in the air. It is Kelvin Tatum that powers on. Trevor Banks, after that tremendous start, is still there in 2nd place. Shane Parker still in 3rd. Andrew Appleton up in 4th place. And he's certainly been scoring consistently. He's on 11 points from 2 rides. So every opportunity that if he can just stay where he is, or indeed make up another place, he could be in that A final. Kelvin Tatum certainly wants to be there. He's making sure of that. And Andrew Appleton is not too far away from Shane Parker. Now while he's trying to pick his way past Trevor Banks, there may be an opportunity for Andrew Appleton to capitalise on it. But let's not take it away. This is a tremendous ride from Trevor Banks in 2nd place. The checker flag goes to Kelvin Tatum. Shane Parker is trying to get through on the inside. Trevor Banks holds him off though. Shane Parker finishes in 3rd and Andrew Appleton in 4th. Into the 3rd and final leg rides for the 500cc solo internationals, and from the top, number 1, Kelvin Tatum, done it again. He finishes in 1st place. No finish there for number 2, Sean Tacey. Number 3, Bernd Diener, no finish. Number 4, Trevor Banks, an excellent second place. Down the page a bit further, number 14, Darren Rolfe, no finish. Number 15, Jeremy Doncaster in 5th place. Number 16, Shane Parker in 3rd. Number 17, Andrew Appleton in 4th. And the winning time was 1:24.95, 1:24.95, 63.18, the average speed. And I've done it again, haven't I? I've missed number 83, Nathan Irwin. He got a 6th place that time. So number 83, Nathan Irwin, he's 6th. And at the moment, that looks like Maik Groen has got himself to the front. David Howe is right there in 2nd place to him, though. And remember that David Howe had a second first time out, and then he pulled out of his second ride with mechanical problems. So he'll definitely want to do well this time to stand any sort of chance that he can get himself into that final. For 18, Zdenek Schneiderwind, who had a win second time out. He didn't ride in his first ride this afternoon, and he's out there again following that win he had in his second ride. But at the moment, it's all about rider number 8. That's the Dutchman, Maik Groen. He's being pursued by number 21, David Howe. At the moment, David doesn't have any answer to him, although he's closed up on that pit bend. So he could be saving it all for the last lap as he gets closer and closer coming out of that bottom turn. Zdenek Schneiderwind now starting to get closed down by number 7, Matt Reed, for that 3rd place. Oh, you remember that Matt had a win first time out. Now David Howe started to make his move. He's looking to come through on the last turn to get to the checkered flag, and that's exactly what he's done. David Howe takes it. Maik Groen in 2nd place, and Zdenek Schneiderwind finishing in 3rd place. Matt Reed in 4th. Right, race 18 it was, and we start with number 5, Stefan Catt. He finished in 6th place. Number 6, Lee Complin, no start, no finish. Number 7, Matt Reed in 4th place. Number 8, Maik Groen in 2nd place. Number 18, Zdenek Schneiderwind in 3rd place. Number 19, Jason King, no ride. And number 20, Enrico Janoschka, finishing in 5th place. Number 21, David Howe, he got the win. 1:25.96 was the winning time, 1:25.96, 62.44 the average speed. So 1:25.96, 62.44. We've got then just one more qualifying ride to go for the International Solo. And for this last ride, we see Mitch Godden, Theo Pijper, Richard Hall, Matthias Kroger, Joe Screen, Jorge Tebbi, Paul Cooper, and Benny Hegener. From the racing line as he goes across the finishing line. Theo Pijper has to take evasive action. It's gone very, very wide, and Pijper is down on that first turn. So Theo Pijper disappointingly down. You remember he pulled out with mechanical problems in his second ride. He's quickly back up on his machine. But Matthias Kroger looks over his shoulder. This is where he wants to be. Joe Screen is in second. Mitch Godden in third. And it's a question of whether Theo Pijper can get back on terms. I think that's asking an awful lot, as he is a long, long way back. He doesn't look happy with machinery either by the look of it. And as we've been perhaps missing what Matthias Kroger has done this afternoon. Pleased to see Richard Hall out there in 4th place. Remember he had that tumble in his second ride. And Joe Screen with a massive wheelie on the far side. Can't close on Matthias Kroger at the moment. And as Kroger has a bit of a horrible moment in that pit bend, he gets it back under control, and Joe Screen does look to be a little bit closer now. Pushed on perhaps by Mitch Godden in that third place. And again Joe picks the front wheel up. Now it will be checkered flag this time for them as they come round. And Matthias Kroger has kept it where he wanted it to be. He stayed in front, he gets the win. Joe Screen in second, Mitch Godden in third, Richard Hall in fourth. Qualifying ride for the International Solos, and from the very top, race 19 it was. Number 9, Mitch Godden, finishes in third place. Number 10, Theo Pijper, a disastrous day, he pulls out once again. Number 11, Richard Hall, finishing in fourth. Number 12, Matthias Kroger, the best ride of the afternoon for him, first place. Number 22, Joe Screen, finishes in second. Number 23, York T, finishes in fifth. Number 24, Paul Cooper in 6th place. And number 25, Benny Hegener, finishing in 7th. 127.28 was the time, 61.49 the average speed. 127.28, 61.49. So, while all the points are now collated to find out who goes in the A or B finals, we turn our attention to 750cc sidecars. This, the international class, of course, under German regulation up to 750. And by far, the overall leader is number 5, Carl Kiel and Rennie Falter. They go in this one, or in position second, I should say, on 12 points. Number 6, Clive Willis and Mike Simpson doing the best of the Brits at the moment. They're on 11 points. And number 4, Lester Goodwin and Andrew Stevens on 9 points. And at the moment, all sorts of problems for Malcolm Goodwin and Gary Rockall. They had a third place and then no finish in their second ride. Outside, and he's got himself to the front. Carl Kiel in second place. Remember, it was the completely reversed in their last ride. Kiel got the victory over Joseph Ondurka, but Ondurka looks to be stamping his authority this time as he comes round that bottom turn. Very much in command. Did get the opportunity when the 1000cc sidecars were travelling around Europe. I went over to Ollie Olsen's circuit in Vrons in Denmark, and Joseph Ondurka had a go on 1000cc outfit on the sidecar speedway, and believe me, he is a very, very talented rider in that class as well. He's gained a lot of experience in sidecar racing. Very, very powerful rider. Carl Kiel has no answer to him this time. Ondurka really setting out the pace, flies down the back straight with a big, big margin now on that second place. There is still just one lap to go. And Joseph Ondurka really is setting the pace. Well, Teague Hawkstar and Eric Van Dyke it is that are in that second place. So as the checkered flag goes, it is going to be yet another victory for Joseph Ondurka and Martin van Prestrammer. Indeed, I've now confirmed to myself that I've got Carl Kiel back in 4th place. I can only assume there was some sort of mechanical problem for Kiel there. But will that be enough to get him in the final? PC sidecars, and it was a win for rider number 1, Joseph Ondurka and Martin van Prestrammer. A win for them. As we move down to number 3, Jeeb Hoekstra and Eric Van Dyke in second. Number 5, Carl Kiel and Rennie Falter, they're in 4th place. Number 7, Marcus Brandhoff and Marco Honzuka finishing 3rd. No finish for number 9, no finish for number 11. Number 23, Tony Stark and Darren Wood get 5th place. 134.40 was the winning time, 134.40. An average speed of 56.86. So, as we saw with the International Solos, this is the last of the qualifying rides for the International Sidecars. Oh, it all looks very, very tight on this start line. Lester Goodwin saying, no, I'm not moving. He's got his place, he's staying there. Clive Willis not happy with things, but prepared to go with it by the look of it. Why he wanted to be where he was. He's got a tremendous start and he's got himself to the front. Malcolm Goodwin is locked in behind him. Raz Palmer in third at the moment. And Clive Willis on the outside of him. Raz Palmer looking to go around the outside of Malcolm Goodwin though. So Raz Palmer and Danny Hogg get up into second place as Lester Goodwin and that's the pace. Oh, Brian, all sorts of problems for Malcolm Goodwin again. I understand that he blew an engine in practice as well. He's not had a good day at all, Malcolm Goodwin. Again, he pulls off into the centre of the circuit. Now, Raz Palmer coming under pressure from Clive Willis in that bottom turn. Clive Willis looking for second place. Now, Clive is right up there on the top points. Sitting in third place on 11 points. Now, Lester Goodwin was in fourth place on 9 points. Now, this won't do his campaign any harm at all. This, I think, in fact, will guarantee a place in the final. Now, Raz Palmer's not going to give up, though. He tries the outside line again, going into that pit turn. Between these two, no means out of the question is number 12, Keith Drury and Richard Webb. Good to see them back out there again after that tumble in the very first ride this afternoon. And in fact, looking to try and get third place by the look of it. Checker flag will be made ready for them this time, and this is going to be the win that I think Lester Goodwin and Andrew Stevens so desperately wanted. They've had a second and a third. Now they've got the win. One. Number 2, Malcolm Goodwin and Gary Rockall. No finish for them. They pulled out once again. A disappointing day for them. Number 4, Lester Goodwin and Andrew Stevens. They take the race victory. Number 6, Clive Willis and Mike Simpson. They take second place. Number 8, Andy Kerrison and Gareth Bemister in 5th. Number 10, Brian Palmer and Danny Hogg in 3rd. Number 12, Keith Drury and Richard Webb in 4th. And the winning time, 137.10, 137.10, 55.27 they averaged. Number 1, Darren Treloar and Justin Plaisted. They're on 14 points from 2 rides, 2 wins. 74 and 13, that's Duncan Tolhurst and John Halsey, both on 11 points. Number 18, Paul Bickley and Paul Sylvia on 10. And then we've got incredibly 5 outfits together on 9 points. Now, we can't have 9 going in the final, so a lot of sorting out to be done in these third leg rides. Now, what I shouldn't forget also is that riders like number 5, Matt from Roller, goes in this one. He had a 5th place, but then he came out and got a win. He's one of those riders on 9 points at the moment. Well, the starters beckoning that they want the riders to the start line. Now Richard Thomas is in gate 4. Now where is he going to try and get himself? Because if you look across that start line, just about where Kevin Woodley is, that's about the line of where the hard surface finishes. Now they're beckoning for Darren Treloar to come into line. He goes in gate 3, so he'll be actually in the deep stuff between Matt from Roller and Richard Thomas. Paul Whitelum and Kevin Jones with problems at the moment. It does look as if he's got problems with his clutch, so obviously the reason why the engine stalled on him. Quickly get machinery going. Everybody else patiently waiting on the start line. Has missed the start. Paul Whitelam in fact has got to the front. Richard Thomas is right there with him though, and Richard Thomas pushing hard. Paul Vickley round the outside perhaps as they go down the back straight, and Darren Trelaw starting to make his move. Looking to get round the outside of Matt from Roller in that 4th place at the moment. So Richard Thomas in 2nd place looking to get the lead, and Darren Trelaw through into 3rd place already. He's now looking for 2nd. Right on the back wheel of Richard Thomas and Kevin Woodley. They drive on hard. They've gone underneath Paul Whitelam as they go down the back straight. Paul Whitelam responds, but Richard Thomas again looks for that gap on the inside. This is tremendous sidecar racing. It all closes up once again, and Richard Thomas has only just got that lead. Now, has he left the gap for Darren Trelaw to come through as well? Paul Whitelam fights back and takes over the lead again as Darren Trelaw looks for a way round the outside. He's got round the outside of Richard Thomas. He's now going after Paul Whitelam. And Paul Whitelam must be wondering where it's all coming from, because he's had a battle with Richard Thomas. He thinks he's won that one, but now he's got Darren Trelaw trying to find a way through. He's certainly worked his way through. And Paul Whitelam didn't look happy with that at all as he drives in hard into that top end. He's now got Richard Thomas on the inside of him as well. But that is Australian sidecar racing at its very best. Darren Trelaw and Justin Playstead come round that bottom turn towards the checker flag. They've made it 3 out of 3. They certainly had to work for that one. Of race 22, it was certainly the best sidecar race we've seen so far this afternoon, but don't forget we've got the finals to come. Number 1, Darren Trelaw and Justin Playstead. They take their 3rd victory this afternoon, 1st place. Number 5, Matt from Marola and Andy Wilson. They take 5th place. Number 14, Neil Owen and Dylan Davis. No result. Number 18, Paul Bickley and Paul Silvera in 4th. Number 60, Richard Thomas and Kevin Woodley in 3rd. Number 92, Paul Whitelam and Kevin Jones in 2nd. 132.07 was the winning time. 58.29. 58.29. So we move to race 23. Can we transfer some of those points? We're now looking for Miles Simmons, who is one of those riders on 9 points. I'm sure they're all calculating these in the pits. Talking about all these riders locked on 9 points. If I look at this heat, we've got number 15, Ivor Matthews and Tony Miles. Also number 9, Miles Simmons and Dave Hogan. Now, see, psychologically and in terms of overall point scoring, they can take points off each other in this one. Number 62, Mick Toll, is a little bit behind them, but he had a very, very disappointing first ride. Himself up into 4th in his 2nd ride. There you go, and it does look made the best of that one. Ian Lee Amos has gone with him as well. Those two together as they go round that first turn. So Mick Cave on the inside. Miles Simmons is in third place at the moment, battling with Ivor Matthews. But as they go into that top bend, there's all sorts of problems. As Ian Lee Amos looked to have hit Mick Cave, and Mick Cave has got all sorts of problems. He was in fact just in the middle of that bend. Lee Ray unfortunately connecting with Mick Cave as he'd stopped in that bend. The rest of the outfits had managed to avoid him.
Well, let's take another look at that crash again. Not really the sort of crash you want in your season on. Mick Cave does well, he makes the gate, and Ian Lee Amos, well, he just runs straight out the back of him. I can only imagine it's because Mick seemed to have slowed down a bit. If we let it run on, you'll see that Mick suddenly stops, and then he gets clipped by Miles Simmons up the inside. Then Ivor's on the same racing line, and Ivor just can't avoid him, runs straight into his passenger. Lee Ray's in the same position, but Lee Ray turns over, and believe it or not, all of these riders got up and walked away. Absolute miracle, I think.
He was in fact just in the middle of that bend. Lee Ray unfortunately connecting with Mick Cave as he'd stopped in that bend. The rest of the outfits had managed to avoid him. And of course the red flag's out straight away in the interest of safety. The race stopped and we'll be looking for the restart. Well, obviously the bike being taken back to the pits. We'll wait for the riders to come back for the restart. In the Coco the Clown suit on the finishing line, he's saying this will be the last one with the flags for him. Now, if you don't know Chief, as he's known, Chief, why are the girls cheering when I say you're not going to be here again? Because the reason I was told you were retiring, because you've got to this grand old age of 60 plus, and you're not as agile as you used to be. The bikes have got faster and all the rest of it. But I think the only thing that's slowing you down today is the beautiful young ladies we got out there with those number boards. That'll slow you down a lot quicker than anything else, mate. Don't worry about the bikes. But I know you've been involved for over 20 years with this club alone. You raced some time ago. I've read about that in the vintage books. But I will say honestly that if I try and remember the times we've had 5-lap races, we've had 3-lap races, they haven't been too many, have they, Chris? I think you'll all agree with me, he's done a fantastic service down here, and I'm going to miss the colourful outfits if nothing else. Pointing not to see him down here in those colourful outfits again. And it does mean, of course, I'm advertising for a lap score. I'm also advertising perhaps for a finishing marshal as well. Right, we've got the outfits to the line for the restart of race 23. 4 outfits only. Now, can Ivor Matthews capitalise on this? He gets underway, but Ian Lee Amos has made a very good start on the outside. Has he got the lead there together as they go around that first turn? Ian Lee Amos looks to have the better of it, but Ivor Matthews is on the inside of him. All sorts of problems for Ivor Matthews, both Tony and Ivor fighting with the machinery. Got themselves sat upright again, but they do look to have hit a problem as Ian Lee Amos has led coming off that second turn. Miles Simmons can do nothing about it at the moment. He chases him into that pit turn. Ivor Matthews has got it going again, but he's got a big gap to make up. Mick Toll is the rider in third place, the first target to go after. But as we look to the front, it is Ian Lee Amos and Paul Phillips that are looking at maximum points at the moment. Miles Simmons and Dave Hogan, they were one of these riders that I mentioned was on 9 points coming into this last ride. So they'll want good points here if they've got a chance of getting into that final. Mick Turrell and Tony Baisby still there in third place, but the gap really is opening up between first and second. Ian Lee Amos and Paul Phillips having their best ride this afternoon. They lead as they come past us. And Ivor Matthews has really had it all to do this afternoon with just one more lap to go. It's a big, big margin to try and make up. Well, Ian Lee Amos is pulling away as there's a real battle going on for that second. Mick Turrell ending up having to throttle off because he went very, very wide coming out of that bottom turn. But as the checkered flag goes, it's race victory for Ian Lee Amos and Paul Phillips. 23 after the restart, the result reads as for number 3, Mick Cave and Richard Marston, no result. Number 9, Miles Simmons and Dave Hogan got second. Number 15, Ivor Matthews and Tony Miles got fourth. No result for number 19, Lee Ray and Andy Wood. Third place to number 62, Mick Turrell and Tony Baisby. And a win there for number 183, Ian Lee Amos and Paul Phillips. 132.84, 132.84, 57.81 the average speed. That's 57.81. Is that what they call a little bit of British hospitality, Chief? You introduce the Australian champion to the good-looking females that are here on the start line with you. You know you're running a great, great risk there, don't you? So as we look at the points that have been collated for the 1000cc sidecars, it is all still very, very tight on who it is that goes into that big A final. Now as we look to this last heat, there are 3 riders certainly that could make qualification. Number 74, Duncan Tolhurst is on 11 points. John Halsey, number 13, is on 11 points. Number 184, John Hiscock, is another one of those riders on 9 points coming into this ride. He knows he wants to be first or second to make sure of qualification. And in fact I can see that we've got the reserve number 121, Steve Smith. We were waiting for one rider, I think that's number 17, Dave Steer, that we were waiting for. So as Dave Steer has now joined the rest of the crew, as the starter pulls them back into line. Who will make the best of this one? The last of the qualifying rides for the 1000cc sidecars. John Hiscock has made a tremendous start. Well, he certainly had a good starting position and he's got himself to the front. He's got Duncan Tolhurst and John Halsey behind him. Very tight between those two. John Halsey just making the best of it though as they break going down the back straight. And John Halsey and Jason Glennie chase after John Hiscock. Now I said that John Hiscock was sitting on 9 points coming into this ride. He really did need first or second, and he's certainly going about it all the right way. He leads as they go into the pit bend for the second time. John Halsey and Jason Glennie still in second. Duncan Tolhurst and Nick Owen sitting in third. Now I think that could be enough to get them through. It means they'll add 4 points to 15. Yeah, I think by my unofficial reckoning, I think that will just about get them through. As we go into that pit bend for the third time, it is John Hiscock that doesn't look like being caught. John Halsey and Jason Glennie still there in second. A big gap between them and Duncan Tolhurst in third. And you can see that Dave Steer is getting close on that third place as well. He's looking for it. One more lap to go then for John Hiscock to pick up maximum points on this last ride. John Halsey trying to change that, but not able to make the break on him as they go into that pit bend for the last time. Down the back straight we go, and indeed as we look to see them go into the pit bend, this is the last turn. John Hiscock hesitates in the middle of that bend, but he's done enough. He gets himself maximum points and a place in the final by my reckoning. John Halsey in second, Duncan Thomas in third. The qualifying rides this afternoon, the next time you'll see them they will be in A or B finals. Number 4, James Rogers and Damien James finished in 5th place. Number 13, John Halsey and Jason Glennie finished in 2nd. Number 17, Dave Steer and John Richards finished in 4th. Number 23, Gary Jackson and Carl Pugh, no finish. Number 74, Duncan Tolhurst and Nick Owen, 3rd place. Number 184, John Hiscock and Simon Wall, they take the race win. 121, Steve Smith and Dave Williams, the reserves coming in there, finish in 6th place. The time was 129.81, 129.81, a speed of 59.76. 59.76. So as you can see, the marshals and first aid officials are standing down for what is going to be about a quarter of an hour break. And if you haven't brought food with you, there are plenty of stands around. Have a wander about. If you want to wander through the pits, this isn't one of those sports that excludes you. You can have a wander through there if you want to. And I know just missing out on the points, number 60, Richard Thomas, who effectively is the top qualifier for this B final. He, I'm sure, will be disappointed that he's in this B final, not making the grand final. And equally, last year's winner, Ivor Matthews, he goes in this one as well. Quickly, passengers are over to pick a starting position. And they know what they want. They want this racing line exactly where you can see Kevin Woodley going. Now, the way in which they qualified, of course, the outfits will have that choice of gate. So Richard Thomas and Kevin Woodley get first choice. And then Ivor Matthews and Tony Miles will get second choice. Tony anxiously waiting to see where Kevin's going to go. Now I know as we went through the programme there were a couple of the dinner and dance I advertised for the 15th of Feb, but I've also been reminded that Maidstone are presenting a championship celebration, a tribute to Lester Goodwin and Andrew Stevens. Saturday, November the 9th is the date. Tickets are still on sale. It's at the Cobdown Sports and Social Club, Ditton near Maidstone. And tickets are available for Nobby who's here today, if anybody wants them before they go home tonight. That's a championship celebration put on by Maidstone Aces Motorcycle Club. So the first of the 2002 Bonfire Burnup Finals. We start with the 1000cc sidecar. Of the start as he goes into that first turn. Well, that perhaps was the reason why he wanted to be top qualifier, and as I say, disappointed that he didn't get into the A final, but he did get first choice of gate. Ivor Matthews and Tony Miles close to them, though, again disappointed that they're not in that A final. And as they come round that bottom turn, it is those two that are getting away. Mick Towell and Tony Miles still there in third. Ian Lee Amos having a good ride up behind Mick Towell at the moment, looking to try and get that third place. And as they go down the back straight, Richard Thomas doesn't want to be caught. You can see Ivor Matthews getting closer and closer all the time though, as they drive hard into that bottom turn. No change in the movement, and it is still the 1, 2, 3, 4 that we started off with, but Ivor Matthews looks to have another go. He's gone very wide on that pit bend. Loses the speed going down the back straight, and look at Mick Towell catching him up. Well, Mick Towell really did have an excellent back straight then. He's caught right up behind Ivor Matthews. He must be looking for the way through. Richard Thomas still pulling him away, and there's all sorts of problems for Mick Tower as he goes into that bottom turn.
Well, as you can see, Mick Tower comes flying into this bend, and the trouble is with these Aussie style fairings they've got on this track, there's only a small racing line when it gets rough, and you can see he's dug into all this loose stuff just off the racing line, and it stops the outfit dead. And his passenger Tony Baysby, he must have gone at least 20 feet, 25 feet through the air, and of course he hit the floor, and poor old Tony had the stuffing knocked right out of him. They did put a neck brace on him just for precautionary measures, but really he just couldn't breathe, and I'm not surprised at all. Here we can take another look at it from the camera shot I actually got, and you can actually see the outfit where it digs in, and then just keep your eye on his passenger Tony. He gets ejected. It must have been like a rocket. Poor old Tony needed a parachute the height where he went up, but boy, that must have hurt when he hit the floor.
Coming to the line, top points qualifier, number 1, Joseph Onderke and Martin van Bresketoma. He comes to the line as outfit number 1. First choice of gate, and I'm sure you knew exactly where he was going to go. He wants to be on that racing line, just on the outside of the loose. Number 5, Carl Keel and Rennie Falter. Number 4, Lester Goodwin and Andrew Stevens. Number 6, Clive Willis and Mike Simpson. Number 3, Teague Hoekstra and Eric Van Dyke. Number 10, Brian Palmer and Danny Hogg. At the moment we've got no Raz Palmer out on the circuit. The rest of the crews are indeed getting themselves ready, picking their places. Joseph Onderke been sitting there patiently, knows he's got a good starting line. Carl Hill, last to come into line in fact. At the moment we've still got the pit gate open, and the clerk of the course saying no, shut the pit gate. We've got no Raz Palmer going in this one, so 5 outfits only as they quickly beckon for Carl Kill to come back into line. This is the first of the 2002 Bonfire Burnup titles of 3 grand finals that we're going to see. For the very first time here at Tunbridge, we've raised the CC level up to 750cc. And they get underway. Carl Kiel has gone with them as well as they go into that first turn. It is Joseph Onderke, but look at Carl Kiel go around the outside of him. Carl Kiel gets his nose in front as they go down the back straight. Onderke tries to come back at him though as they go down that back straight. Together as they go into this pit turn for the first time. The rest of the field drop off those front 2, and it is going to be a battle between the 2 mighty Germans. Number 5 and Rennie Falter lead from Joseph Onderke and Martin van Bresketoma. Into that back straight they go again. What can Onderke do? He's raced against Carl Kiel so many times. He attacks underneath and gets himself to the front in that bottom turn. Now, can Kiel get back at him as they come up together past me? The gap back to the third place. The 2 Brits battling out for that 3rd rostrum place. as Lester Goodwin looks to have the better of it at the moment, but now Joseph van Derker has got himself to the front. He leads into that pit bend. One more lap to go for Joseph van Derker and Martin van Proshammer. They will take the Grand Slam Bonfire Burnup. Look to have won the battle on Carl Kiel, who's now having to be content with second place. He's got big gaps between him and first. He's equally got a very impressive gap between him and third. So as the checkered flag is raised, that's how they're going to cross the line. It is victory for Joseph van Derker. Carl Kiel gets second. Lester Goodwin gets himself on the roster in third. Finals for 2002, a win for outfit number 1, Joseph van Derker and Martin van Proshammer. In second place, number 5, Carl Kiel and Rennie Falter. In third place, number 4, Lester Goodwin and Andrew Stevens. In fourth place, number 6, Clive Willis and Mike Simpson. No other finishes there. The winning time was 1:33.89, an average of 57.16. And as one of our phase 3 girls tries to confuse everybody by having the 4 in front of the 3, we didn't notice, of course. Right, we've got the lineup for the International Bonfire Burnup Solo Grand Final. And the lineup includes number 1, Kelvin Tatum, number 22, Joe Screen, number 16, Shane Parker, number 7, Matt Reed, 21 is David Howe, 12 is Trevor Banks, 8 is Maik Groen, and the final competitor I've got there is number 4, Trevor Banks. Kelvin Tatum has made a very good start and got himself to the front as he gets into that first turn. In fact, you can all see that if you're down here in front of me that Maik Groen lost the chain on the start line. So big disappointment for him, but it's Kelvin Tatum that's setting the pace as they come round off that bottom turn. Kelvin Tatum is the lead. Shane Parker in second, David Howe in third, Matt Reed in fourth. Can Shane Parker close him down? Can Kelvin Tatum stamp his authority, stay out in front? He's going at the moment. And into that pit bend goes Kelvin Tatum once again. Remind you that he's won it, would you believe, 3 times already. That's the fourth he's going for. Well, he was like most of the competitors this morning, very dubious about the circuit. Didn't know how it was going to race, wasn't looking forward to it. But he's got out there and he's had 2 wins during his qualifying. And he's got himself to the final. 1 more lap to go. Is he going to put his name on the title once again? Shane Parker can do nothing about it, but David Howe is closing on Shane Parker. David Howe, not content with third place, is looking for second as he closes up going down the back straight. Shane Parker responds. Into the pit bend he goes. Now David Howe is once again having a go. Kelvin Tatum takes it. David Howe round the outside. And David Howe gets second. Shane Parker in third. Trevor Banks is fourth and Matt Reed in fifth. But he's done it once again as he lifts the front wheel up going down the back straight. A very pleased Kelvin Tatum. Whenever we see him on the British circuits, we know that he's going to be the man to beat. The rest of them know that as well. And in this sort of form, he does make it very difficult for everybody. Final, a win for rider number 1, Kelvin Tatum. In second place, number 21, that's David Howe. In third place, number 16, Shane Parker. In fourth place, number 4, that's Trevor Banks. In fifth place, number 7, Matt Reed. In sixth place, number 12, Matthias Kroger. And in seventh place, number 22, Joe Screen. 1:22.41 was the winning time. 1:22.41, 65.13. Over here from Australia, Darren Treloar and Justin Plaisted. Outfit number 13 is John Halsey and Jason Glennie. Number 184 having 2 tremendous rides in his qualifying heats. John Hiscock. 9. Well done, Chief. I think that was received with a great round of applause. You've just got 3 more to go. And I've been informed that as we are indeed losing the light, this will be the last race of the afternoon. So we just got the 1000cc sidecars coming to the line. I didn't complete the lineup. Number 9, of course, is Miles Simmons and Dave Hogan. And number 18 is Paul Bickley, Paul Silvera. Now Darren Treloar will get first choice of gate. Now if we were certainly trying to confuse these riders, totally distract them, then they've gone about it the right way. So as Darren Treloar makes his way all the way around that far corner, so I'll let everybody else get themselves sorted out, then I will come to the line. So, waiting for Darren Treloar to come into line. John Hiscock and Simon Wall being told that Darren Treloar has already taken gate 4. So it looks to me like John Halsey will go 3. John Hiscock is taking 5. Duncan Tolhurst is taking a chance and going on the inside of John Halsey. Miles Simmons also going on the inside. And well, they've indeed squashed things up, and it looks as if they've created a smaller gate on the inside. Nobody effectively is taking gate 6. So as Dave Hogan gets on the back of Miles Simmons, they come to the line, we break to the start of the let's go. Darren Treloar has made a good start, John Halsey's made a better one though, and it is John Halsey that gets to the front. John Halsey gets to the front, Darren Treloar has gone round the outside of him though in that first turn. There's all sorts of problems at the back of the field, but Darren Treloar has got away. And Darren Treloar flies into that top end. I thought for a moment that John Halsey and Jason Glennie had held him off, but as they come off that top turn, look at Darren Treloar and Justin Places. John Halsey and Jason Glennie can do nothing about it at the moment. They've just got to make sure that they stay in front of John Hiscock and Simon Wall, who are going quickly in that 3rd place. Down the back straight they go once more as there's a battle going on for 4th place. But the 3 Roston places are already taken care of as Darren Treloar and Justin Places came over here for the Sidecar Super Cup. They won, would you believe, 4 out of 4 rounds. They were the overall Super Cup Sidecar champions. They were asked, invited, they were brought back over here for the International Bonfire Burnup. Everybody wanted to see how they would go here at Tunbridge. Well, they are indeed going superbly well. John Halsey and Jason Glennie doing well to stay with them. But you can see that even they realise now that it's a lost cause as they go down the back straight. They're still there in 2nd place, but I think they know that that's going to be it because the checkered flag is being raised. It's going to be a victory for Australian champions Darren Treloar and Justin Places. John Halsey and Jason Glennie take 2nd, John Hiscock and Simon Wall in 3rd. So the last race of the day, unfortunately the light coming in and making things very difficult for the riders and officials. Let's give you the official result of the 1000cc sidecar grand final for 2002. A win for the Australian visitors, Darren Treloar and Justin Plaisted. Outfit number 1 in 1st place. In 2nd to them, number 30, John Halsey and Jason Glennie. In 3rd place, number 184, John Hiscock and passenger Simon Wall. 4th place goes to number 18, Paul Bickley and Paul Silvera. In 5th place, number 74, Duncan Tolhurst and Nick Owen. In 5th place, number 9, Miles Simmons and Dave Hogan. Well, as they come round to receive your applause, let's give you the official time. It was 1:28.77, 1:28.77, 60.46 they averaged. Fourth place goes to number 18, Victory and Silvera. In fifth place, number 74, Dr. Solar and Nicholas. In fifth place, number 9, Miles Simmons and Dave Howe. As they come round to receive the report, and giving the official time, it was 128.77, 128.77. Well, consider that on your journey home. 60.46 they average. They go almost sideways after that. But that, I'm sorry to say, has almost concluded the Bonfire Burnup for 2002. There is, of course, the fireworks to come. We'll try and get the riders up here as soon as we can for the presentation of awards. We've got that special presentation being made to Steve Schofield as well. So I hope you're going to stay with us. Remember, there is the fireworks that have all been set up over there in the centre. They won't be going off until we finish the presentations. And with a bit of luck, I'll be able to have a word we want to do with these riders, let you know exactly what it was like out there today. So I hope you'll be able to join us. If you can't join us, if you've got a long journey to make, then please have a very safe journey home. Look forward to seeing you in the 2003 season. And just a very, very quick reminder that the hangover organised by Salisbury is in fact going to be running on the Sunday between Christmas and New Year. You're all going to give a very big round of applause. I hope that he's already made his way over here, and that is of course really a legend from our sport, Mr. Steve Schofield. That's it, the kids will let you through, Steve. Now, I think before we start with any awards or anything like that, Steve, I've got to ask, how is the fitness nowadays?
Yeah, it's coming on really well. I mean, everyone's sort of really helped out. We're like the Toppers Club and everyone else supporters have really helped out really good. I'd really like to thank everybody, and yeah, it's coming on really good.
Well, indeed. You can see that you've got a lot of support in this part of the world, Steve, and it is really great to see you up here. But I won't steal the thunder because Tony, who's here from the ACU, I think a lot of you recognise Tony Knoll, who puts in a lot of work behind the scenes. Tony, I'll let you take over because you're as good on this thing as I am, so, or as bad, whichever I say.
Thank you, Jim. I think that's a compliment. One of the nice things about our sport is that there's some really nice people involved in it. And one of the riders who, no matter where you go, right across Europe or across the UK, about whom no one ever says a bad word, is this guy here. I've had the fortunate pleasure of watching Steve both in the UK and also in Germany, where he is equally popular. I can assure you the crowds love him there, just as they do in this country. And he's a delight to be involved with because he never causes any problems. He puts his point of view quietly, accepts any decisions that go against him, and he really is one of the great sportsmen that we've had in track racing. And I'm absolutely delighted that we've managed to get this medal, which he never quite received before, and which he truly deserved. I mean, the strange thing about Steve is he never quite managed to win a European or a World Long Track, but he was always in the top three. An absolutely tremendous performance over many years. And Steve, it's going to give me a great deal of pleasure to put this medal around your neck, and thank you for all the pleasure you've given not only to me, but to all these folks out there. We've all loved to see you racing. We're glad to see your fitness returning like this, and it really is a pleasure to be part of this ceremony. Thank you very much.
That's it, we get the official photographs done. But see, we're not going to let you walk away that quickly because I don't know whether there is anything else you want to say to these great people that have supported you, but we're also going to get you to hang on and present these awards to the riders that have ridden today.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everyone for supporting me all over the years. It's been great, and yeah, it's difficult to know what to say. You know, it's really nice that everyone has been supporting me over everything. So thanks very much.
Well, there we go. The last word with Steve, somebody that's provided so much entertainment, as Tony has said. So if we can just lean on you a little bit more, Steve, and get you to present the awards to some very, very worthy victors this afternoon. And we'll start with what has been described as the international sidecar class, but I think that's being challenged now by the 1000ccs. Interesting that when we started to read in the middle of the summer that there was going to be German licenses allowed here, that meant they could have the German restriction of going up to 750cc. I am sure, like many of you, thought, well, what's that going to mean? Are we going to see big multi-cylinder 750cc's? Found out this morning, of course, it didn't. What it meant was that they can have much, much bigger bore single cc's. And I think you'll agree that these Germans do need to really be caught, because we've seen some great performances from some very, very talented riders. And let's get them up here to receive your applause, because we start within third place, as always in motorsport. And it's great to see Lester Goodwin and Andrew Stevens. So you got your mum down here supporting you? Oh, and the rest of them. So I mean, Lester, the first thing I've got to ask you is, I had a chat with Malcolm this morning about these bigger engines and everything else, but it's not just the engines, is it? These Germans are a bit good.
Yeah, there's something special about that one, Dirk. It's about time he give up, because it's just unbeatable at the moment. It's just different class.
Well, we'll see what he's got to say when we get him up here later, but I think really the theme of all the conversations tonight are going to be really the conditions of the track. How did it affect your racing this afternoon?
It wasn't too bad. Once we got the top off the track, there was a good racing line there, but there was only one racing line, and to be honest, we was very lucky that the meeting was on altogether, but everybody mucked in and we all had a go, and it's good for the supporters and everybody that there was a meeting.
Well, indeed it was good. And Andrew, I'm not going to let you escape, because I will get a quick word with you. I mean, I always think that, you know, it's a tough track, this one, for passengers. You've enjoyed your racing this afternoon.
Oh yeah, it's been brilliant. The club's done very well, and well, we just pleased the weather held out, really.
Well, pleased it held out, and you're up on the rostrum, be it in third place.
Yeah, it's nice. So again, we've got to beat the Germans, haven't we?
Well, you have. Well, I think on that note, we wish you the very best for next season. Out there competing against them again. In third place then, in the 750cc, Lester Goodwin and Andrew Stevens. Right, it means that I now call up in second place the riders that I thought might have been tipped earlier on this afternoon to do the winning. We have seen them here before at Tunbridge. Very, very talented indeed. Carl Keir and Rene Fulter. And we anxiously look at the crowd. Has he already gone to catch the plane or the boat? No? Right, we've won some silverware. That's one we don't have to give out. So, no Carl Kill, and it means that I can just call out the winners of this event. If anybody has found Carl in the meantime. Hang on, yeah. No good me looking out there, I can't see a bloody thing. Oh, they're here. Oh, excellent. Right, battling his way through. Well done, Carl. Well, let's give him a round of applause as he made it here then. In second place, Carl Gill. But no passenger. Is he on his way? Oh, don't tell, he's found the beer tent. I know, come by. That was easier for him to say. Yes, he's made it. Well done indeed. Really, Fulter. Well, I'm going to risk it, Carl, because I know that I've spoken to you once before, but I'll first of all ask, one, how good is your English, and what did you think of our circuit?
Ja, wir fahren noch 1-2 Jahre, mal sehen, wie es weitergeht dann.
Every bloody time he does that. Right, well, great, let's just say then, let's get them up on the rostrum. In second place, Kalkil and Renier Bolter. So it means as we put Carl and Renier up there in second place, let's call out the winners of the 750cc International. I'm sure you'll agree with me, they are a fantastic crew, a very, very talented driver, Joseph Onderker and Martin van Dringhammer. Has anybody got a box for Steve? Right, I'm going to risk it again. I've got to try it because I know I have spoken to this guy. Oh, you want to get a picture first? All right. Okay, I'll wait. No, I'm not going to sing. Don't worry, I'm not going to sing. That's it. You sure? You don't want me in there? No? Right, Joseph, I'm going to try it again because I've actually seen you riding 1000cc sidecars in Denmark. And what I've got to ask you now is, with riding on this track again, because I know you've been here before, what did you think of it today?
For like the next year, I drive the CC sidecar in Denmark, and I must say the track was very funny. For the sidecar and was good for me.
Was indeed good for you. Well done indeed, Joseph Onderker and Martin van Dringhammer. And I've struggled with that surname all day. I wasn't going to try talking to him, was I? I must improve my German. Well done indeed, guys. Our top three in the 750. Lester Goodwin and Andrew Stevens. Carl Kerr and Rennie Bolter. Joseph Onderker and Martin van Dringhammer. And from now on, the names get easier, hopefully. Yep, there is, Steve. I agree, Steve. There's always one. See, you should never take the mick out of a German. Right, we move on to the International Solo. And I think you'll agree, always here at the Tunbridge track, we do expect to see at the Burnup a very, very big entry, and this year, nonetheless. We had a fantastic entry of riders. I don't think anybody really could have predicted who was going to do the winning. Would it be Joe Screen? Would it be David Howe? Would it be Shane Parker? Who would it be? Well, I think you know the end result. A man that has ridden brilliantly well for us. But as always, let's start with third place. Great to see him back here at Tunbridge. Shane Parker! Well, Shane, I've got to have a quick word because I know we don't see you too much on these sort of circuits, but do you enjoy the Tunbridge track?
Kind of today. It was very difficult. I mean, I was lucky to get the meeting on, obviously, and that race is pretty good considering how much rain we had, and I do more of this on the continent than over here, and it's good to do one every now and again.
Well, it is indeed good to see you, and I'm sure the crowd will agree with me that when you're going as well as you did today, but obviously the big question is, third?
Yeah, what an idiot. I made a bit of a mistake on that last one. I sort of got a bit complacent, I guess, but I made it to the rostrum, so I can't complain about that.
Well done indeed. Our third place this afternoon, Shane Parker. Well, I think really Shane has already summed it up because he fought all the way through. Dare I say, a disastrous start for this guy, but I'm sure he had a lot of fans out there hoping he was going to do it. He ended up sneaking second place on that last bend. David Howe! And we don't mention the rat. Oh, there's another handshake first before... I know you're so keen to talk to me, Dave, but a little bit cheeky that last turn.
Yeah, you know, I'd given up and settled for third. I was quite happy with that, and Shane just got a little bit wrong. It was, you know, very, very shiny on the inside there, and I kind of went where I didn't really want to be. But it was more luck than judgment, I tell you.
You got there in the end. Well, I mean, when we started this morning, everybody I think was a bit down in the pits, weren't they? Because it really didn't look like the racing was going to be on, and everybody was a bit sort of put out by it all. But eventually, was that track raceable?
To a standard, you know. I don't think this will go down as a classic bonfire burn-up. The track certainly wasn't. The lines weren't there that normally here, but it was rideable. The track, considering how much water was on it at the start, was very good.
Well, indeed, very good. It's a very hard racing. Well done indeed for second place in the International Solo, David Howe. With companion. Right, as they get the rosettes ready, then indeed let's call up the winner of the International Solo. He's been here before, he's won it before, he's won it again. It is, of course, number one in the world, Kelvin Tatum. They're just very good friends. Yeah, you can get a picture, yeah, no problem at all, yeah. Well, Kelvin, I think really it's difficult to know where to start because, I mean, talking to the other two, talking to the 500 sidecars, difficult race conditions out there today.
Yeah, I've got to say, it's great to see Steve here. Really pleased to see him up and about. He's struggled since that accident here a few years back, and he's had some difficult injuries, and he looks like he's making progress at last, so delighted to see him walking around and up and about.
Well, indeed, I'm sure that everybody out there agrees with you as well, Kelvin, because that was a horrible memory, but great to see him back and going again. But really, when I look at the racing today, I mean, very difficult from the offset.
Yeah, it was. Obviously, that shower we had, well, that heavy shower we had just sort of prior to the meeting starting really was, we really could have done without that. It really made it very sloppy and snotty. So, particularly like in my first race, I got just didn't get away, and it was tough. But I think everybody did a good job here. It was difficult conditions and not many racing lines. And if you got caught up in the deep stuff on the outside, it was quite hair-raising stuff. So. I'm pleased there wasn't too many accidents, and we were able to put on a show because there's a big turnout here today.
Well, indeed there was. I think, you know, that this sort of event is well supported, and I've got to say, really, Kelvin, although there's some very hard racing, you were the man to beat today.
Yeah, I got a bit between my teeth today. I thought, yeah, I want to try and crack it, but I wasn't that confident going into the final. One or two lads were looking pretty good. I'd seen Shane have a good ride earlier on, and then a couple of weeks ago, Dave Howe, he put a lot of pressure on me, so you know, really had to be a good start and get away, and fortunately I was able to do that.
Well, fortunately you did, and I'll let you join the other two up on the roster, and the winner this afternoon, Kelvin Tatum. Right. Well, then we'll let them down off the roster, and let's give one more big round of applause. The winners this afternoon, Shane Parker, David Howe, and Kelvin Tatum. So we move on to what quite often is described as the big crowd pleaser here at Tunbridge, and what makes it all work. It is, of course, the 1000cc sidecars. And I know that earlier on in the season we were talking about having a much smaller class. The minds were changed. We had ended it up with 18 competitors, and really I think it's easy to say that any 10 of those could easily have won it. Finishing in third place A tremendous last couple of rides, and then he had a go in the final as well. John Hiscock and Simon Wall. Oh look, is this a sympathy vote or what? Well, John, I suppose I ought to say that really I'm getting used to this now, talking to you up here on winners' rostrums, you know, that if I start off with an easy one, like conditions difficult today?
Yeah, it's pretty hard, I suppose. I like the mud anyway, but once you made the game, you go for it. That's it, you got to keep going.
Absolutely, and did I notice that you changed bikes halfway through the day?
Yeah, I had to. The engine went off on the grass bike, so it's a case of speedway bike. Have a play.
Absolutely, have a play. Well, it certainly worked. You've gone up here in third place. And Simon, I suppose the obvious question is, why the crutches?
10 days ago, I had reconstruction of my left knee due to an accident I had 2 years ago out in Germany. So, good old NHS, I've been waiting 2 years for it. So,
now, don't get political.
It was a case of putting it off, waiting for another year, or have it done, and twisted John's arm to let me go on the back today. And there you go, so third.
Well, there you go. You're obviously very, very pleased with third. Well done indeed. The third place finishes John Hiscock and Simon Wall. So I think the question was really, could anybody beat the visiting Australians? Well, I know a lot of hopes were pinned upon this crew, but they've got to admit that they've ended up in second. It is, of course, our British Masters champions, John Halsey and Jason Glennie. Well, John, I've talked to everybody else about the track and all the rest of it, but I think what I've got to ask you is, are they ever beatable?
Oh, I think they're beatable. I don't know when, but no, I mean the way they go, they're just so consistent. They make every start. They win everything they go in. So they won every heat in the Super Cup. They won every final in the Super Cup. But no, they are beatable, but I don't know when.
We've got to still keep learning, but I mean, I've talked a lot about conditions here, but I mean, this is a superb track for the thousands, isn't it?
Oh, it's a very good track, yeah. Like Kelvin said earlier on, that little bit of rain we definitely could have done without. You know, we could have had sort of like 3 or 4 bike wide track, whereas we only had a 2 bike track, but it was very good. But, you know, Darren once he got away, he was gone. He's just, yeah, he's so good.
So good, and Jason, I've got to say that early part of the season when John lost your services, things didn't seem to go that well, but now he's got you back. It's been win-win-win, hasn't it?
I think, to be honest, it's done us both good for the break. I mean, I've come back fresh. I think I'm enjoying it more now than I ever did before, really. And the meeting's there to be won, so all you can do is give it your best shot. And this year, I think we've had a good year, to be honest. Probably one of the best.
Well, indeed, one of the best. Of course, the big title being the Masters, but disappointed to be second or pleased to be second?
Disappointed in one way, but another way, I mean, it's the Brits. Obviously, we came best out of the Brits, but for these two, I've got to be honest, I think they're sheer class. That's my opinion. They're brilliant.
Well, I don't think anybody's going to disagree with that. In second place this afternoon, John Halsey and Jason Glennie. So it means that we've got the winners to come up here, and indeed I'm looking forward to talking to these guys because we saw them over here for the Super Cup. They have been over in seasons before. They wanted to win this one. They said they'd love to come back to it. They have won it. It's Darren Trelaw and Justin Blaisdell. That's it, yeah. I have to take the instructions from the photographer, you see. They want a picture first. Right, let's have a quick word then, Darren, because I know when I spoke to you this morning for the video, you said that you haven't actually stopped racing since you left us in August. You're invited to come back over. One you wanted to win.
Yeah, this is a big one. I've never actually won on the grass track. I haven't done that many meetings on the grass. I've had good success on the speedway, but
this is the main one we wanted to do, and we've done it. So beauty.
Beauty. Yeah, nice one. Nice one, I like it. But now obviously what I've got to ask you really is that you'll be disappearing back over to your homeland for your summer season, our winter season. But will we be seeing you back over here next year?
Yeah, there's a good chance. I'm hopefully going to do some deals and sign something up before I go home. I don't go home till Thursday, so I've got a couple of days to pack up and wash up and have a talk with a few people, and if it's all possible I'll leave my bike here and we've got 2 more in Australia, and come back next year and do the Super Cup and hopefully come back and defend the title at the Bonfire.
Well, that's really good news for us to hear, and I'm sure everybody out there is pleased to see that. You never know. By the end of next season, John might have found that magic formula to try and beat you. But yeah, of course.
I've got a few people to thank. Without Kevin and Drew, this wouldn't be possible. Thanks a lot, boys. Appreciate it. Rob and Sue Wills putting us up, looked after us, fed us, tried to do everything. Graham and Big Mick Lecce for helping us in the pits. The Blyes, Steph, Stuart and Carl for lending us their grass bike just in case it was raining, which I did use it. Thanks a lot, boys. Ivor for towing it down, and Justin for doing a good job on the back. Thank you.
Well done indeed, Darren, because you've mentioned that he's done a good job on the back. Justin, let's bring you in, because what a lot of people won't know is that you do actually do a bit of driving yourself, don't you?
Yeah, I rode for 5 seasons, and then I got on with Darren and haven't looked back, so it's been good.
Well, it has been good, and I'm sure, as I've said to Darren, you must have been very pleased to come over here.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone's been great to us, they've helped us, and it's good that we could top it off with a win.
Well, I think I'll leave it at that. It was good that you topped it off with a win. The winners this afternoon, Darren Trelaw and Justin Placey. Oh, John wanted was the champagne for some reason. I think it's time I went. John, photographs first. Right, the photographs are finished. Let's give a big round of applause then to the winners of the sidecar competition. John Escock and Simon Wall, Jeff Halsey and Jason Glennie, Darren Trelaw and Justin Placey. Well, as you say, well done indeed to all our winners this afternoon. I think you'll agree that what has been a winner against the atrocity of the weather is the club who put on a fantastic performance. It isn't quite finished yet, because I think it's now certainly dark enough that if I could give him a tip over the far side there, I think we are about ready for the fireworks. And I hope that you've all enjoyed the racing this afternoon. It was, as I think was quoted by one of the riders, not what you call an epic, but we got through the racing against all the conditions, and we've had some very, very worthy victors. bit wide, so whether he's wondering if he locks himself up too much going into that bottom turn, he's in fact trying the outside. His number. That's a good one he's got there as well. Dirk's a lot closer this time. He's looking for a way through on the inside. Problems for Mel Goodwin. Down it's Raz Palmer and Danny Howe. Do get in front of him. Mick Cave has got to the front. Darren Treloar tries to get around the outside of him, but Mick Cave is holding him off. Darren Treloar, the long way round. Can he get by him? Mick Cave says, no way, you're not coming through there, but Darren Treloar keeps trying. He's gone the long way round, and we know that these Aussies do like to ride the boards. Matt Ramolin made a good one from the outside. Stop the speedway out. Determined to get by him, and he finds a way through on the inside. He's trying to get through on the inside. Trevor Banks holds him off the time out. Now David Howe started to make his move. He's looking to come through on the last turn to get to the checkered flag, and that's exactly what he's done. Take evasive action, he's gone very, very wide, and Pijper is down on that first turn. Now Raz Palmer's not going to give up though. He tries the outside line again going into that pit turn. Because Darren Treloar has missed the start. Richard Thomas in second place, looking to get the lead, and Darren Treloar responds that Richard Thomas again looks for that gap on the inside. Once again, and Richard Thomas has only just got that lead. Looks for a way around the outside. He's got round the outside of Richard Thomas. He's now going after Paul Whitelam. And Paul Whitelam must be wondering where it's all coming from, because he's had a battle with Richard Thomas. He thinks he's won that one, but now he's got Darren Treloar trying to find a way through towards the checker flag. They've made it 3 out of 3. In the Amos look to have hit Mick Cave, and Mick Cave has got all sorts of problems. Pulling him away, and there's all sorts of problems for Mick Tower as he goes into that bottom turn. Joseph van der Gerwen, look at Carl Kilger around the outside of it. They'll drop off those front two, and it is going to be a battle between the two mighty Germans. He's raced against Carl Kilger so many times. He attacks underneath and gets himself to the front in that bottom turn. Checkered flag is raised. That's how they're going to cross the line. It is victory for Joseph van der Gerwen. Into the pit bend he goes. Now David Howe is once again having a go. Kelvin Tatum takes it. David Howe round the outside as he lifts the front wheel up going down the back straight. A very, very pleased Kelvin Tatum. Darren Treloar made a good start. Darren Treloar has gone round the outside of him though in that first turn. That's going to be it, because the checkered flag is being raised. It's going to be a victory for Australian champions Darren Treloar and Justin Blaisdell. Left to Goodwin and Andrew Stevens. Carl Kilger, Rennie Belzer, Joseph van der Gerwen and Martin van Struckenhammer. Applause then to the winners of the sidecar competition. John Escock and Simon Wall, Jeff Halsey and Jason Glennie. Darren Treloar and Justin Blaisdell.